The 2004 Indy Racing League title could be decided tonight. Championship leader Tony Kanaan, hunting down his first major title in 7 years, has only to finish fourth to take the crown. But the 29-year-old from Sao Paulo, Brazil, will have to fight from the back of the grid in the Toyota Indy 400 from California Speedway. Hello everyone, we've reached the penultimate round of the Indy Racing League with Tony Kanaan coming to Roger Penske's impressive California Speedway with a substantial points margin. But just starting today, he eliminates all his rivals except Britain's Dan Wheldon. But a lot can happen over 400 miles of the super speedway, and already in practice plenty has happened. With me tonight to shed further light on the proceedings and joining us for the first time is Mike O'Brien, a successful racing driver in his time. More recently though, the man who steered Darren Manning's career. And of course regular Sky Sports pundit Paul Cherry, a former Champ Car team manager. Well, I'll be talking to them in just a moment, but first let's check out the headlines. Tony Kanaan's close friend Helio Castroneves, without a win all season, will start from the pole at a racetrack which seems to favour the Toyota-powered cars this week. But Tony himself will have to start from the back of the grid after mechanical problems halted his qualifying attempts. After setting fourth fastest qualifying lap, Darren Manning crashed and has been forced to sit out the race. The other three British drivers are all in the middle of the field, with Dario Franchitti in 10th place, Mark Taylor 12th and Dan Wheldon struggling for a good setup, a disappointing 14th. Remember, he still has a slim chance of beating Tony to the title. Well, welcome to the studio, Mike. It's nice to see you here. Now, first of all, let's get the news, if we can, on Darren Manning. That was a big crash that he's had. How is he today? Yeah,
it's a big crash, Keith, but he's fine. We were a bit worried last night after the accident happened, because obviously it was a bad one, and we knew he was out of the car. They took him off to the medical place, and I actually spoke to him on my way to the studio this evening, and he's fine. He's very sore. It was a big hit.
Well, we're about to see that big hit now, and well, Paul Cherry, you're as familiar with these as anybody, and this is a racetrack you wouldn't want it to go into the wall quite that quick, and I think that confirms just how big a hit. This is the first chance that we've had to see that as well. Yeah. You must be horrified by that, Mike.
Yeah, well, I am. You know, this form of racing is dangerous, but you know, it didn't appear that Darren did anything wrong. The only explanation he had was it was getting a bit breezy, and you know, you're flat all the way around. You've got the car absolutely on the limit, you know, for minimum drag in qualifying, and
but no injuries. Basically, he's going to be back for the final round.
Yeah, no, he'll be fine. He's just very sore, and
okay,
he'll bounce back, I'm sure.
With the emphasis on bounce after that, of course. Now then, the Honda engine cars have pretty much dominated this year, but Toyota, a renaissance for them here. They're really flying, aren't they, Paul? What's that all about?
Yeah, we're normally talking about Honda having sewn up the first 4 or 6 places, and here we are, Toyota have pulled it out of the bag. I have to say, a lot of hard work's been going on with both the Toyota programs, one at TRD and one at Penske Racing, and they've made some significant revisions to the airboxes on the car, which is fairly crucial with these rev restricted engines, and they've come up with some ideas that have given them a bit of horsepower.
So they breathe more easily?
Very much with a good tune.
I'll stand them up, you knock them down, Paul. Now then, Mike, you've attended obviously most of these races with Darren throughout the year. Yeah. We obviously don't get the privilege of going to the trackside quite so often. Just give us a bit of insight into the atmosphere in an IRL meeting nowadays. I mean, obviously the IRL has come on so good since its inception a few years ago. I mean, what's it like being at trackside now? Well,
it's great. It's a great atmosphere. It's much more relaxed than, say, Formula One. You've got a big crowd there, maybe typically 50,000-60,000 people. The Americans are great at the razzmatazz. You know, you've got the fireworks, the guys parachuting in with the flags, the different people singing the national anthems, and the weather's nearly always hot and sunny, which is a big bonus compared to tonight coming to the studio. But no, it's a great atmosphere, and you know, myself or sponsors can wander in a pit lane before the race starts, and it's very exciting. But you know, it's a dangerous category, and there's always an edge to it. And
that's a nice link actually into tonight, because it is a super speedway, and I was going to ask you, with such high speeds, and having just seen your man Darren crashing out in qualifying, you know, what kind of is there any apprehension among the drivers when you've got such a high-speed venue that you've got to get the car bang on right for?
I think so, Keith. I think it's mainly, you know, that they're going to be racing quite a big pack, although it may not be quite as big as the last race at Chicago. And it's just very, very close, and the cars move around a bit. You know, they're going 220 miles an hour on the straights. And it's like when you pull out from a lorry on the motorway, the air from the side can move you as well as, you know, getting a tow from the car in front. So I think they are a bit apprehensive, but they all enjoy it. It's great racing. Tony Kanaan could win the race from the back of the grid, and he wouldn't have a chance of doing that.
You're getting good at this already. You've been here one time and he's linking me into all the places that I want to go to. Of course, he's going to get the major draft. He's going from the back of the grid. He's got to start from the back of the grid. He could win the championship tonight, Paul. I mean, it's a tough order, but 400 miles around this place, it's probably not that tough, is it?
No, we've seen it before. Gilles de Ferran did it a couple of years ago, was a lap down halfway through a 400-mile race and came back to win it. He needs to be very, very careful. He can sew this title up quite easily with a 4th place finish. Andretti Green, as we've seen, have the strategy to get you to the front very, very quickly. But as we go back to the fact that Tony has done every lap of every race.
Indeed, 2,905. I've looked at that stat as well. Sorry to interrupt you with that stat, Paul, but I wasn't just being smart. We can hear now from Tony Kanaan at trackside.
Right now.
Never started this far back, Tony. It leads me to wonder, in the drop of the green flag, do you ride, do you race, or do you drop the throttle and just try to carve your way to the front?
Let's make sure. I did start in the back before, but this year, lately, no, but I'm charging to the front. I mean, that's what's going to happen, for sure.
Oh, I don't know. Is that a good luck kiss? I mean, this is the guy that's trying to beat you.
That's okay. I mean, it's in the family, and we know what we have, and, we're going for it. I mean, it's another race for me, and I'm not concerned about anything. I'm racing like I always did. Otherwise, wouldn't be Tony Kanaan.
Andretti Green, they obviously keep it close in that. Was, of course, Dan Weldon, Britain's Dan Weldon from Emberton near Olney in Buckinghamshire, leaping into, well, I won't say the kiss of death, but I'm sure that he is obviously hoping that he will be pulling out all the stops to beat Tony Kanaan tonight. In fact, if he hadn't had a bit of a dip earlier on in the season, Dan Weldon would be in an even better position than he is. Kanaan has been more consistent through the year, I think, Paul.
He certainly has. Kanaan's got the feel for how to win this championship. But, let's think of Dan for a minute. He's now in his 2nd full year of IRL, and he's really done a fantastic job. He's there challenging very, very hard.
A great example indeed, and he's British. So a great racing prospect. We'll take a short break now. More news from Fontana when we return.
6 months of intense competition, and reigning champions Paul have come through to the final once again. Can they retain their title? Sky Bet Elite League final, first leg, Wolverhampton v Paul, tonight 7:30, Sky Sports 2.
They can get called cheeky, naughty, but never dull. Even the ones over 6 foot are still growing. They're better than any anti-aging cream. They tend to think what they think, not what they're supposed to. They ask the questions no one else thought of. Work with the most exciting people in the world. Use your head. Teach.
Want to know how you could be saving money on your phone bill? Simply call Tele2 on 0800 027 80 80. It's easy to switch to Tele2. There's no need to change your BT line, phone or number. With Tele2, peak calls are only 2.5p per minute. With BT option 1, they're 3p per minute. Tele2 off-peak calls cost just 4p for up to an hour. With BT option 1, you'll pay 5.5p, and our international rates are lower too. So pick up the phone. Call Tele2 now on 0800 027 80 80 for the high-quality service enjoyed by over 23 million customers in 24 countries. Tele2, why pay more?
Nope. No. Mm-mm. No. You, get in the van.
The Undertaker.
Rest in peace.
JBL.
Undertaker, I am not intimidated.
WWE No Mercy in association with Day of Reckoning, Wednesday, 9 p.m. Sky Sports 2.
Welcome back to our coverage of the Toyota Indy 400. Team Penske's Helio Castroneves continues his run of form and starts from pole position today. One man who'll be watching his progress is 5-time Speedway World Champion Tony Rickardsson, whose interest is professional as much as personal. Tony's winning bike for 2004 has been designed by the Penske organisation's British operation in Poole, Dorset. When I caught up with him recently, he filled me in the details on this tie-up between 2 wheels and 4. big interest here in Paul. Penske cars just down the road. We're obviously interested in the IRL series as to how this tie-up came about.
Yeah, well, it's a bit of a long story, really. I think it was me showing an interest in their racing league. You know, I was always been a big fan of IRL and kart, where I was racing in earlier, and I think I came down there as a guest, and just they showed me the facilities for, I don't know, 4 years ago or something like this, and they helped me to do a few bits and pieces on the bike, and then it was standing still for a few years, but we still kept in contact. And then for last year, we did, Mikko decided we maybe should do the full chassis, and they produced a wonderful bike for me to ride this season.
What is the type? Is it casual or is it a professional thing as far as Penske and yourselves are concerned? What is the actual the depth of the tie-up?
Well, I think this is just a project between myself and a few friends at Penske Cars that thought it was we all have a liking to all the technical and to the technical side of the racing, and we thought it would be great to produce something together, and so we did. And I think it surprised us how well it was working, and it's been going this year. So I don't know where we're going to take it from here. You know, that's still not decided.
What's the difference in the chassis compared with the one you ran before? I mean, where have the advantages come from? What have you found with this chassis over the other chassis?
I have a few more alternatives to adjust the chassis so it will suit me. I really only use one settings now that I find is working good for me, you know. But the advantages, it's difficult to say. It feels the difference is like from riding one frame to another frame, and some riders like this model and some other riders like that model. I took a liking to this frame, and I felt it helped me a little bit in the corners and coming off the corners. So we've been sticking with it ever since I tried it the first time.
Now, you say you're a big IRL fan, even get out to see some of the IRL tracks. How did that come about?
Well, that's way, I think back in 97, 98, I started picking it up on the TV back home in Sweden, and then I had a friend who was driving an Indy light car the race before, and he got me some tickets, and I flew out one weekend to follow him, and then I got hooked up on that, and I really followed it ever since. And then it's been touring cars and all kinds of cars. I've been doing a bit of rally myself, and just car racing has really been a big interest for me, and that's my I would say my hobby today.
The tentacles then of the Penske organisation moving across into Speedway motorcycling, and congratulations of course to Tony Rickardsson, who this weekend won the Norwegian Speedway Grand Prix, and very soon after that interview, gentlemen, he and the rest of his team for Sweden won the Speedway World Cup as well. So obviously Penske chassis is working pretty well in Speedway. We're getting right up to date at the moment. Elio Castroneves looking pretty good on pole position, Paul.
Yes, I mean, we've said time and time again the Penske organisation is an extremely well-oiled machine. They've had a lot of bad luck this year with engines. They've had guys up the front, and they're pretty good at winning the Indy 500. The long distance races definitely suit Penske. If the Toyota horsepower for qualifying translates to race pace, I think we could have a 1-2 out of Penske.
This is their track as well, and it's Roger Penske's track.
It's not really cheating, it still goes the same direction.
I mean, when you're working with Darren, I mean, obviously Darren's in a top flight team. I mean, how do the other teams look across the garages at Penske? I mean, are you kind of looking in awe, or is it just a competitive situation? Are you looking at them as a yardstick to work with? I mean, how are Penske viewed from within the paddock?
I think they're obviously clearly one of the top 3 or 4 teams, along with Ganassis and Andretti's really at the moment. They're clearly the best 3 teams. But it's so, again, you were talking about the build-up to the race. I tell all my colleagues at Silverstone and the people I talk to in Europe, the garages, you're all effectively in one big garage, which isn't in the pit lane, it's set back, and it's completely open. So the last meeting, for example, the 2 target cars were adjacent to the 2 Penske cars, and we could just stand there watching them preparing their cars.
You wouldn't get that in Formula One, that's for sure.
There's just no secrets.
No secrets. Well, I find that difficult to believe somehow.
Well, okay, you can't hide anything behind screens and banners. In Formula 3, you can't get in people's garages to see what's going on.
Well, we saw the relationship just a little bit earlier on, of course, between the 2 teammates. Tony Kanaan is the man that should lift the title tonight. Dan Weldon, well, he gave him a big kiss a little bit earlier on. Let's hear from him now at trackside.
About how for Dan Weldon he needs magic on this day to keep his championship hopes alive. So I question you, Dan, at this point, Do you force the issue a bit? Do you take added risks trying to keep the championship chase going to the final race in Texas in 2 weeks?
I'm not sure that you've seen how competitive this championship is, these first 14 races, but no, I'm obviously going to try and go for the front as much as I can. I'd like to finish the season with the most amount of wins, because obviously the championship is in Tony's reach. It's more for him to lose than for me to gain, but if I try and win these last 2 races, you know, anything can happen. I don't wish bad luck on the guy, but I'm certainly just focused on going to the front, but it'll be a good race. I'm sure we'll have a good time.
You start 13th. How concerned are you at starting this race at mid-pack?
Well, 13 is an unlucky number in England, so I'm not too happy about that. I'd much rather start 14 or 14th or 12th, but I've often started in the mid-pack on these super speedways. For some reason, the old Klein Tools Jim Beam car doesn't like to qualify too quick, but it's very good in the race, so expect me to be up there pretty quick, I would say.
And keep in mind...
Up there pretty quick from 13th on the grid. Again, it's a long race if they've got race setup sorted out. You mentioned to us just before we came on air, Mike, if I might bring you back up onto that a lot of this qualifying is done in packs because of the speed of this track. They've got to get used to dragging each other around the place because it's so fast. I mean, so in the race they should have a proper race setup organised, but for those that have had a struggle through qualifying, they are at quite a disadvantage, presumably. Yeah, well,
they use the final practice session, which is half an hour before the race. I mean, at this meeting it was on Saturday rather than this morning, but they deliberately go around drafting because they're running a car on full tanks, slightly higher downforce than they used in qualifying. So the drivers just need to get a feel for it, and the cars behave totally differently, as we said earlier, when they're in a draft of someone at 200 miles an hour than they do when you're just on the track on your own at 200 miles an hour. So they try and get prepared for that, and quite often the IRL guys throw a yellow just to stop them racing so much, because
it's all getting a bit hectic out there, I suppose. You must be actually, I mean, looking at the qualifying, you must be quite disappointed, because Darren's had a good qualifying from his first qualifying session. He had that big off, but the man that he's been qualifying pretty well around, his teammate Scott Dixon, has qualified on the front row alongside Elio Castroneves, so it could have been a great day for Darren Manning, and he really could have done with it at this stage of the season, couldn't he?
Yeah, it could have been great, Keith, but I mean, 2 things really. We're just really glad he's okay, and the Ganassi is very, very much a team, and we support Scott, and Scott supports Darren. You know, Scott's missed a race through an accident, so we just hope he'll get a good result for Ganassi.
Well, we're looking now at live pictures from the California Speedway, otherwise known as Fontana, of course, and well, you can see the weather set fair as you might expect in California, and there's a bit of a description of exactly what we've got to come as far as the track is concerned. 92,000 people seated if it was full, which it's not, but it's still going to be a great race day, the penultimate round. Quickly, Paul, if I can, Adrian Fernandez. There's been a few announcements that start for the 2005 season, of course. We've got an extended coverage next year with road courses coming in as well. Fernandez being one of the first to have announced his situation.
Yes, they're coming up with the same 2 drivers, Adrian and Japanese Matsuura, and they're going to continue with their G-Force and Honda program. But that's a good announcement for the IRL because it keeps the Mexican interest in the series.
What other news? You keep your ear to the floor, you know exactly what's going on. What else have you...
Well, the big news that's probably about to break is going to be...
Oh, I like that, before it hasn't broken yet. That's perfect.
There's a very strong rumour that Toyota have made the IRL an offer that they simply can't refuse to pay to have Long Beach as an IRL race for next year. As we know, there is still one TBA in the IRL schedule, and it appears that the weekend of the 18th of April appears to be the one that's free. So put 2 and 2 together and try and come up with 4. I think that's a likely scenario now. The manufacturer push is intense. That is a key race for the American market.
Fantastic. So good news as far as all of us are concerned, and Toyota putting up even more money. It amazes me just how strong this series has come on, Mike. I mean, you've been at it right from the beginning. You've been watching what's been going on here. I mean, the IRL really has gathered momentum, and we've got, what, 15 rounds next year. We've moved into road courses now, the domain of Champ Car, of course. The series will go, I presume, from strength to strength at this point.
Yeah, I think the road courses and the street courses are just absolutely fantastic, and they definitely needed it. I mean, the teams like Ganassi and Penske, they're road racers at heart anyway. They don't really want to do 16 ovals. You know, they want to do Indy and the key ovals. So I think to have four or so road courses and street courses is just fantastic. And if Paul's right about Long Beach, which you know I understood that was going to be happening as well. it's just fantastic because it used to be a Formula One venue, and added to St Petersburg and Watkins Glen, we got some just fantastic venues for the guys to race at. And of course, Darren's not bad on road courses, having won Macau Formula 3 Grand Prix and everything else. So him and Ganassi and everyone's pretty excited about getting on those tracks and getting their teeth into them.
Well, we're probably getting ahead of ourselves, of course, because 2005 is a few months away just yet, but we look forward to that series here on Sky Sports. Let's cross then to the track now live. As you can see straight away, the Andretti Green Racing team being presented to you there on screen. These are live pictures being generated in California, and we'll be speaking with you again soon, but right now we'll hand over to our American colleagues.
Look at this, 8 wins out of 15 races, or 14 races for that team.
Well, there's a look at Herta, as we talked about. He is driving with that broken wrist on his left arm. He was actually, it was a bicycle accident, and we're not really sure. There are several different stories. He apparently was messing around with his son.
Yeah, the way I understand it, he was riding bicycles with his son. He's got a very young son. His son started to fall, and he tried to keep him from falling, and in the process, he fell off and broke his wrist.
Brian, your son will heal faster than you will. Let him fall. Or put the training wheels back on there. There's Franchitti, who starts in 9th position with a couple of wins this year. We talk about the teams. A lot of time there'll be a lead driver in a team and a secondary driver. That's certainly not the case with these 4 guys.
It certainly doesn't seem like it. I mean, everybody here seems to be treated equally. All of them obviously have very good race cars. They've all run up front. So it doesn't seem like they're, even though Kanan's winning the championship, he's certainly not the lead driver, so to speak.
Well, there's Dan Weldon. Weldon did not qualify all that well yesterday. Starts outside row 7 in the 14th starting position. As he said, he didn't qualify all that well on the bigger tracks. He seems to start back mid-pack, but once the race begins, he's on his way toward the front. Speaking of on his way to the front, it might be kind of fun the first few laps to watch Tony Kanaan, who starts 21st here this afternoon. The umbrella out, trying to shade the cockpit, keep the driver cool in the driving suit and the helmet. We want to join the public address system for the command to start the engines.
Motorsports, our Grand Marshal, Patrick Dempsey.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
He was pretty good. He was pretty happy with himself right there with that little bit of promotion.
Well, at least he didn't have to have an idiot card to say those few words. An actor shouldn't have to have a cue card to say, "Gentlemen, start your engines." One by one, the cars jumped to life. There's a look at young Mr. Foyt, another grand qualifying effort for AJ. Yeah. He was 8th on the grid from qualifying. In fact, he was 4th fast in practice this morning. Here's your starting lineup. Buddy Rice starting back in the 6th position. And there's AJ starting 7th. Of course, he moved up from his 8th starting position because of the Darren Manning crash. And there's Brian Herta starting in 8th position with the broken wrist in row 5. There's Dario Franchitti on the outside. And starting alongside Franchitti will be the rookie Ed Carpenter, who will be 2nd in rookie point standings. Mark Taylor starts in the 11th position, another rookie, former Indy Pro champion. There's Thomas Schechter. He'll be starting the 12th position with the Pennzoil Panther team. And Dan Weldon, 2nd in the point standings, but he's got a ways to go to challenge for the championship. Best qualifying effort in a long time for Scott Sharp. He'll be in 14th position. 15th, Alex Barron, driving for the Cheever Red Bull racing team. There's Townsend Bell. He'll be starting 16th. He's a teammate to Schechter. And there's Matsura starting in the 17th position. Starting 18th, Thomas Ingy. He'll be back next season with this racing team. There's Felipe Giafoni, somewhat questionable about his future with this team next year, if the team will be back at all. There's Toru Takagi starting back in the 20th position, starting 21st. Starting dead last is Tony Kanaan.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see Tony Kanaan, as you said, come up from the back. Race distance, miles, 644 kilometers. Castroneves is on the pole, of course. The pit window is going to be between 36 and 42 laps, probably 5, probably could be as many as 7 pit stops during this race. It's pretty warm here, 24 degrees centigrade, 35% humidity. The wind is only 6 kilometers per hour. There was a lot more wind yesterday. They're not predicting as much wind today, but the wind yesterday was terrible on the drivers, very, very tough, and it was moving the drivers, the cars all around on the racetrack.
Well, there's a look at Dixon. Dixon will be starting from outside the front row. Your defending Indy Racing League champion. Townsend Bell also has an onboard here this afternoon. He'll be starting in 16th position. Driving that Menard car for the Pennzoil Panther bunch, and there's his teammate Thomas Schechter starting in 12th position. Boy, this kid's overdue for a good ride here this afternoon. There's Adrian Fernandez looking at the back of his car. He'll be starting in 4th position. And there's a look at Scott Sharp, actually. Scott Sharp starting in the 14th position, and there's some question whether Kelly will be back racing next season.
Yeah, a lot of question marks yet to be answered.
Of course, Darren Manning not starting today.
So once again, as you hear the PA in the background talk about Darren Manning after that crash in qualifying yesterday, the MRI was negative, but taking no precautions. You know, there was some conversation about Ralf Schumacher and his crash at Indianapolis in the U.S. Grand Prix that the MRI was negative, but they found out like 3 days later he had a broken back.
Yeah. So that's the main reason. They remember that incident. They didn't not want to take that chance with Manning. They thought, one race, championship points are not at stake, so better to leave him out today and make sure he's okay to come back for the last race of the season.
Kanaan from the back of the pack in that big Gulf 711 green and white number 11 car for Andretti Green Racing. He'll have a good view of the start of this race with Castroneves on the pole, 4th pole position for the 2-time Indianapolis 500 champion, but yet to find victory lane here this season. So obviously for Roger Penske, this team has been the effort, or not the effort, but the results have been a disappointment this season.
Yeah, 6 different winners, 6 different pole position sitters, and 15 different lap leaders. This is a very competitive series. 15 out of a total of 22 cars that are here today have led the race, so that's a pretty good percentage.
The guy who's led the most laps is that guy right there, but he's not going to lead early today because he's starting the back of the pack. All right, they're supposed to get the green this time by. A little ragged there as they go into turn 3.
Scott Dixon in a pink car on the outside of the front row, not something you're used to seeing, but
that's for breast cancer awareness, pink and white. There's Tony Kanaan at the back of the pack. There's your leader, or at least the lead pack, coming through the corner, accelerating. The green flag flies, and we are underway here in Southern California. Second to the last race of the season as you watch Tony Kanaan trying to pass as many cars as
Thomas
possible.
Schechter's got trouble. Thomas Schechter pulled to the outside. Oh, we got 3 abreast down into turn number 1, and there goes Kanaan, 3 abreast down and following them.
As they scramble for position down the backstretch, Kanaan trying to pick off as many cars as possible. That was Vito Mir in the left box there under the white line.
Trying to make some ground, and there you ride along with Scott Dixon on the left-hand side of your screen. Meanwhile, looking back at Tony Kanaan as he's trying to work his way up. He's already caught A.J. Foyt IV.
Yeah, and Fernandez becomes the first leader here this afternoon.
Kanaan just goes to the outside. He's passing 2 at a time. Wow.
Well, Fernandez grabs the lead at the start as we're watching the action in your right box there. As he goes by one of the Red Bull cars. How about Tony Kanaan? And tries to get to the low side of Brian Herta. So we've got action all over this racetrack as we're watching Kanaan work his way through up to he was up to 15th and now up to 10th after 2 laps.
Yeah, that's a long way. 10 cars in 2 laps. That's pretty phenomenal, really. And here comes another one.
And Schechter is headed for pit lane. You called that on the start. Schechter did not get a good start.
He pulled clear to the outside, out of everybody's way, and his was running very slowly for the first couple of laps. He's finally just pulled into pits, and tough break for him. He's had some of the worst luck of anybody. We talk about Tony Kanaan's great luck. Well, let me tell you, Thomas Schecter's had some of the worst luck I've ever seen in the IRL.
Fernandez, Castroneves, Hornish, then Dixon, Weldon, Franchitti, Mira, Rice, and Kanaan is now up to 9th.
Wow, and there he goes by Buddy Rice on the right-hand side of your screen. So he really has been moving up like crazy.
Well, he might lead a few laps early in this race after all.
Yeah, he might very early in the races. He's come a long, long way in a very short time.
Well, Fernandez up in front. He's won 2 races so far this season. Has been very, very racy of late. Look at Kanaan has picked up 13 spots. Weldon's picked up 9, and Takagi has picked up 5. It's best we've seen Takagi for a while. Look at look at that move. As we're talking about AJ dropping a number of positions, we almost had contact on the racetrack.
It looks like Scott Dixon's got a real bad push problem. That car takes off up the racetrack, and guys going around him on both sides while he was trying to gather that thing up. You could see the sparks right there off of Franchitti's car. That's that big bump down in turn 3 we were talking about.
That's the one they tried to grind down yesterday.
They tried to grind it down. It didn't work all that well, as most of the drivers are still saying that it's still there.
Franchitti trying to get it by his teammate Weldon for 4th position, back up in front. Those 2 drivers have put some gap now, some distance between 2nd and 3rd, but they are nose to tail down the backstretch. There is 3rd position Hornish. Here comes Weldon to the inside. And look at Kanaan. Kanaan now up to 6th position in 5 laps.
Man, he just went to the outside and went around Franchitti like Franchitti wasn't even there.
He's up to 5th position now. As you look back from the lead car, back to Helio Castroneves, who picked up his 4th pole position of the season, but is yet to find victory lane.
Well, we talked about how much better Fernandez has been running the last 4 or 5 races. Once again, we're looking at him here as he's really seems to be on the mark. As you said, he and Castroneves pulled away to a 2nd lead over everybody else.
Tom Anderson, the team manager for Fernandez Racing, said, well, we've heard nothing on the radio from Adrian. That's a good sign.
Yeah.
Everything's okay, so he's not talking.
I got the pedal to the floor, and I just keep going around in circles. As long as everybody's behind me, we're in good shape.
Well, Weldon is now 3rd. Kanaan has moved to 4th. Hornish drops to 5th. Franchitti is 6th, then Mira. And this is what we've seen from the opening of this race. So a bump there on the backstretch.
Yeah, when you run very low down that back straightaway, there's a big bump down on the bottom. But if you don't run low, you know, somebody's going to sneak in under you. So you got to hang down on the bottom of the racetrack over there.
Well, and you have to like Tony Kanaan. Tony Kanaan could have taken it easy. He's got a pretty sizable points lead with 2 races to go. That's not his game plan. He wants to win this thing from the back of the pack.
No, and he went right after him right away. There's no question. He got kind of boxed up there till he got about to the starting line. But boy, by the time he got down into turn 1, he was on the move. Clear to the outside. He was 3 wide.
Well, Vito Mira is dropping back. We understand from race control somebody brushed the wall, and it must have been Vito Mira.
Yeah, the yellow.
Look at this. He goes.
I think the yellow flag might be out.
Well, Vito Mira was the one that actually brushed the wall. Let's take a look on a replay if we can see what happened.
Yeah, they're coming off a turn. Yeah, he got up there. He got into it. Didn't hit it very hard. The bad thing about these cars is they are very, very fragile. Even a very, very light touch like that can bend the suspension on the rear of these cars. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him come in and have a look at that.
Under the first yellow of the afternoon for.
Sometimes I wish we could just rob them and throw their bodies in the creek.
A man's ways please the Lord when he maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him.
I hope you get what's coming to you, and I hope it's sooner rather than later.
Make it look like an accident.
Can you let me go to hell the way I want to?
I don't think we should linger here.
Deadwood, A Town Without Law. Tomorrow, 10 o'clock, Sky 1.
My shop, it's round the clock. My bank, clocked off.
Try later.
My takeaway, it's delivered. My branch number, taken away. My Indian, it's local. My bank, India. My barber, a person. My bank? A robot?
We believe in another way. Phones answered 24/7. A direct line to your branch. UK call centres only. And more people in branch.
My patience exhausted. My account switched.
Because you never know when. Links 24/7 works 24 hours a day.
If you're an employer, it's a good idea to train your staff. It's a great idea when the training's on the job. It's a good idea to have experienced staff. It's a great idea when their experience helps train others. It's a good idea to learn from the past. It's a great idea when we use that to build a better future. It's a good idea to offer training. It's a great idea to get an apprentice. For your free employer's pack, call 08000 150 400.
What could be as many as 5 pit stops here this afternoon. The first one under yellow here on lap 11.
It looks like just about everybody. I thought some of the guys in the back of the pack might stay out there trying to get off sequence to get up front, but it looks like almost everybody is coming in pretty early for a pit stop, but still everybody feels like they have to do it when the yellow's out.
Well, Taylor does stay out. He is the one driver that stays out. Barron has also stayed out.
Well, Kanaan got a great run out of the pits.
So Taylor remains on the racetrack, and Thomas Indy remains on the racetrack. Scheckter comes in for a little longer pit stop, but they had that misfire in the engine.
Well, this is a good time to do anything that you need to do to that thing. I mean, obviously he's had some problems, and you know, if you got to fix something, now's the time to do it. But it looks like Dan Weldon might have been the first guy who got out of the pits there, so that's a great job of him. He and Kanaan, first 2 out of the pits.
So the shootout continues. You know, it's been a fun season because it's always fun to cover motorsports when the nice guys are doing well, and Tony Kanaan is a fun guy to be around. Great personality. You see the horseplay between Tony Kanaan and Dan Weldon.
There you see Mark Taylor, who did stay on the racetrack, and here comes Indy in. I'm not sure he stayed out the first time, and now that he's heading in, which is going to put him clear at the back of the pack. Probably a rookie error on his part. They probably told him, come in, he didn't do it, and it'll put him clear at the back of the pack, and that's not too good. He was back mid-pack anyway. He was about 14th anyway.
Somewhat unique. How many drivers do you find from the Czech Republic?
Yeah, exactly.
We want to watch a replay of this car here, Thomas Scheckter, at the start. Now, he had that misfire. Look what happens. He cannot come up to speed. He almost gets hit there by Scott Sharp as he goes by.
He was trying to get out of the
start. You simply don't expect that to happen to the car in front of you. And he's on the radio telling the crew what's happening.
Yeah, and he tried to get up to the top, and that's when he almost got into Scott Sharp. He's trying to get out of everybody's way. But now we're hearing that Brian Herta might have a problem in the pit area.
That will go one more lap. Herta, they're looking over the left rear of that car.
Looks like it might be electrical.
Taking the left side pod cover off.
Yeah, probably electrical problems. That's could be the area they're looking at. They're going to take the engine or just engine trouble and complete. I thought they were taking the side pod off. They were taking the engine cover off. So obviously a problem with the engine.
Well, there's a look at your leader behind Johnny Rutherford in the Pace vehicle. That's the Access Motorsports car, number 13, Taylor, and it's likely they're saying now he'll be back with this car again next season. Car owned in part by Greg Ray, a former champion of the Indy Racing League. Weldon will restart in second, then Kanaan, Hornish, Dixon. Castro Nevitz did not have a very good pit stop that time. He drops back to 6th for this restart. Then Barron, Fernandez. Look at Fernandez, went from the lead to 8th.
Yeah, and that's remember the last race he won because he stayed out. He had some trouble with the jacks on his car, so the pit stops weren't all that important. He had to stay out because he couldn't afford to make a pit stop, and he won the race. So his pit stops are going to have to get better than that in a lot of the races if he wants to continue to win.
Well, you think this rookie Taylor will have his hands full right on this restart?
I think yes. I think he's going to have his hands full.
Backstretch,
and I think he'll have his hands full in turn number 1. Yeah. Because I think Dan Weldon and Tony. Dan Weldon and Tony Kanaan are going to go right after him right away.
And he will likely get out of the way and let the combatants go. Look at Hornish move up high on the racetrack for this restart. Well, let's see what happens. They come across the start-finish line, and right away Weldon goes to the high side to become our 3rd leader of the afternoon.
Well, he did a good job. He just got laid back, got a little bit of a run, and looks like Tony Kanaan's going to try to do the same thing. Oh, boy, they're moving all over the racetrack there as he moved up in front of Kanaan. It looks like to help Kanaan pull Kanaan by Mark Taylor.
Well, and here comes Hornish. Dixon. Castro-Nevitz back there. Castro-Nevitz has gotten around Dixon. There's Hornish.
Yeah, so now it's Team Green. Oh, look at this.
Look at Team Penske.
All of a sudden, they're showing a little muscle after that pit stop as those 2 cars moving forward very quickly.
Castro-Nevitz going for the lead down the backstretch. He could be the 4th leader here this afternoon. We've had Fernandez out in front. Taylor led for a couple laps under yellow, and then Weldon. Now it's a drag race off the corner. Who's going to lead this lap? We're stacked up side by side. Castro-Nevitz.
Yeah, you've got Team Penske on the outside, Team Green on the inside, and here comes Buddy Rice on the outside. He said earlier he was running high on the racetrack to miss that bump down in turn 3, and you can see from that shot he's running higher than anybody on the racetrack right now.
Here they come, stack them up 3 wide down the backstretch. It's Castro-Nevitz, then Weldon. Then a battle with Kanaan and Hornish and Rice all right there together. The kind of racing we have anticipated and expected all season long. Boy, look at this. Hornish has his nose up underneath the rear wing of his teammate, kind of push him on around.
Well, I guess that is, you can't push like you can in some kind of racing, but he certainly aerodynamically looked like he was trying to give him a push.
I'll tell you what, though, you have to compliment the guys that put these aero packages together to run this close. We've not seen this in years past that you could run this close.
No, but you can see that when he gets to the corner, he moves up. He can't be right exactly behind him. He moves up a little bit. Oh, and look at that. Weldon went a lot higher that time.
Rice moved up that time, too. Look at Rice. Frankitti's back there in this mix. And Kanaan.
And there's Franchitti back there. He's the one that's way on the outside back there trying to go around Buddy Rice.
Frankitti's won twice this season. Rice has won 3 times. Tony Kanaan stayed low on the racetrack. Look at that bump back there. You saw some stuff fly up like debris come off the car.
Every time I see them hit that bump down there, I wonder how long the suspension on these cars can withstand that. 200 laps? Boy, I don't know. I mean, the suspension on these things, they're strong, but they're not made to take that kind of punishment lap after lap after lap.
Realistically, you say they're strong, and they are, but these cars are very fragile for the speeds they're going.
Well, that's right. They are fragile. That's the reason, like when Mira touched that wall out there, you know, you almost have to come in and take a look at it just to make sure nothing is bent or cracked.
Well, Fernandez did not have a very good pit stop. He went in leading, came back out in 8th position. He's riding in 11th right now.
Yeah, and he didn't get back to the front very well at all. He's moved backwards, as a matter of fact. It looks like he's running higher on the racetrack. Remember, he was running right around the bottom when he was leading. Now then he's having to run high on the racetrack and not running quite as fast. He got out of the throttle right there.
Pretty good indication when you're running that high and you're out of the throttle there that the car's not working.
Right.
Chassis not behaving.
Buddy Rice has moved around the Andretti Green teammates and in the 3rd spot.
Well, and he had a wonderful opportunity that he just kind of threw away over the past couple of races that took him out of contention for this championship as he goes to work on Hornish.
Well, of course, it all
for second.
It all started, I think, it was Colorado when he spun on the first lap, and that was just
that big crash where he got upside down, slid across the racetrack.
Yeah. So,
well, Castro-Nevitz was the pole winner here last season. Hornish won the opener at Homestead, where they did test the road race versions of these cars a couple of weeks ago. The first test was rained out because of a hurricane. So they had a couple of weekends free over the last 2 weeks to do some testing. They'll have one free weekend next week before we wrap up the season in 2 weeks at Chicago or at Texas.
And from all indications, the road racing went very well. That they were pretty happy with the way everything went, how the cars handled, and all the drivers seemed to be pretty happy with everything.
You see that bump they went over there as the cars were tossed around a bit. Yeah, Hornish has opened up a bit of a lead, or Castro Nevitt's over Hornish. Hornish battling now with Rice, and there is Kanaan, and right behind Kanaan is Weldon. And there's a look at Michael looking over the activity. Not sure who he is in contact with. He may just have an all caller. He can hear what's going on with all the drivers and all the communication on the racetrack.
Sky Sports brings you live Monday Night Football.
Super finish, and what a start!
Crystal Palace versus Fulham.
Morte through!
Fourth Monday Night Football, tonight at 7, Sky Sports 1.
Have you lost a grip on your finances? You've got bills coming in from all angles, and no matter how hard you try, you can't keep on top of them. And those debts continue to pile up. You start to feel that you'll never be able to stop the onslaught and save the day. But you don't have to concede defeat.
17.
You may have a low credit rating. You might have a county court judgment, or your employment status. You might be retired. Whatever your position, the loan company may be able to help. All the loan company asks is that you're a homeowner looking to borrow between £3,000 and £100,000. Your loan can be used for any purpose and repaid over a period of time to suit you. There are no interviews and no salesperson will call. So, for that any-purpose homeowner loan, see how the loan company could help you. We won't move the goalposts. Call the loan company now on 0800 916 4141. That's 0800 916 4141.
Test Drive is the new car magazine dedicated to in-depth reviews. So, whether it's a big car you're after, the best value car, or if you're just looking for a small one. Before you decide, take a test drive.
It's Celebrities vs Legends, live at St James's Park on Sunday, October the 10th. For information on how you can be at the match, call now 0191 261 1571 or visit the website.
Andretti Green teammates of Kanaan, Franchitti, and Weldon racing nose to tail in 4th, 5th, and 6th position. You look at Buddy Rice there in the number 15 car. He'll be back with Ray Hall Letterman Racing next year, and that could be a full plate for Ray Hall next year. Where's he going to put all these drivers?
Well, I don't know.
He's going to come back.
He's got
Danica Patrick may be brought up.
I was going to say Danica Patrick. They keep talking about bringing her up. I don't think he's going to run a 4-car team. He could possibly run a 3-car team, but 4 cars, I just don't see that happening.
Tried 4 cars at Indianapolis, but not for the entire season.
Boy, look how high Hornish ran off at turn number 2. We talked about them. Brian Barnhart warning everybody that they're running very high off of turn number 2. It seems to be very slick over there. The wind seems to be catching him, and Hornish just got way up there, almost got into the wall coming off of that turn number 2.
Lost a couple of positions too.
The other thing about the wind here at this racetrack, and it is very, very difficult here. It does blow you around, move you around, but it's, California, a lot of sand. It blows a lot of dust and sand onto the racetrack, and that's another factor. It's not just the wind, it's the sand that it blows on the racetrack as well.
So working on lap number 30. Castro Nevitz with about a 0.3 of a second lead over Rice. You're looking at that battle right now with Franchitti and Hornish. That's the battle for 4th. So Hornish lost a couple of positions when the car got very high exiting turn 2.
Yeah, to me that just tells me that the guys that are very close to having a push in the car anyway, it just makes it compounds that problem coming off turn 4 or turn 2 with the way the wind's
They just go beyond the ragged edge.
Right, exactly. And you can see everybody, even the guys who are not having a problem, they're going higher off of 2 than they are off of any other corner. As Hornish now gets under Franchitti.
That's the battle for 4th position. Back up in front, Castroneves, Rice. Kanaan is now 3rd. There's a look at Buddy Rice in 2nd position. Winner of this year's Indianapolis 500, a rain-shortened affair that was 20 laps shortened because of some very violent tornadoes that passed through the central Indiana area on that May Day.
Buddy Rice is slowly but surely collecting Helio Castroneves. He's pulling up not by much. Maybe he'll gain 2 laps and then lose on 1 lap, but he is slowly catching him.
And it's also, Larry, frustrating for a driver to be so close to the championship points chase and then be taken out. Like you say, right at the beginning of the one race, he got upside down with some very aggressive driving. And, of course, Brian Barnett had a chance to talk to all these drivers about their driving technique a couple of races back.
Yeah, he's been a little unhappy with some of the things going on out there, but realistically, these guys are all racing to win. He's told them don't run 3 and 4 wide, all that sort of thing. But boy, when you're trying to win a race, you're going to do whatever it takes.
Well, a call in from car number 6, an understeer problem. They did not change the tires on that car on that last pit stop.
Well, and that's basically what we're talking about. Understeer. He's pushing the car out,
pushing the car out,
and so he can't get the thing to turn. And without new tires, he only had 10 laps on those tires, but obviously 10 laps does make a difference. And because you can tell he's just running higher off of turn 2 than anybody else.
Couple of laps back, let's see how wide he gets coming off the corner. This is a couple of laps ago.
Well, that's
that push condition.
Right. That's exactly when we saw him go out there, and when he lost those 2 spots, he just went way wide, almost got into the wall. That's almost exactly what Vitor Meira did, and is almost exactly the same place, except he was about.
He kept it off.
That's right. He kept it off of the wall, but just barely.
Well, we've had 4 different leaders. Fernandez led the first 12 laps under yellow, while everybody else pitted. Mark Taylor stayed out, led a couple laps. On the restart, Weldon took the lead. Led for a lap before Castroneves blew by him, and Helio took the lead on lap 16. And now we're working lap 35. There's a look at Tony Kanaan.
And this oval, Tony Kanaan said this was the very first oval he ever raced on in his entire life. It was back when he was running the Indy Lights cars, I believe. But he never had run, and of course he's only run here one other time in the IRL. So, but he likes the place. Doesn't matter whether he likes it or not. He has to
compete.
Huh?
He has to compete, like it or not.
Compete, and he's very good at what he does, and he'll adapt to whatever it is.
Well, he started at the back of the pack, came from the back of the pack, was up to 10th in a couple of laps, and now rides in 3rd position. That is his teammate Franchitti in 4th. Hornish is now back in 5th. Then it's Weldon in 6th. Taylor is in 7th. Taylor led on the restart. Townsend Bell is 8th, 9th is Dixon, 10th is Meira, 11th is Giafoni. As you take a look at the captain, and there is Michael Andretti as they're working on lap 37 here at California Speedway.
The cartels know now that the U.S. will not stand by idly. Their business is over.
You have no idea what kind of mistake you're making.
Get down! Stacy! I love you. Stacy!
When there's nothing left to live for.
How could you turn your back on me?
There's everything to fight for.
You must become a monster.
Vin Diesel.
This is what the devil looks like.
A Man Apart. Sunday at 10. Sky Movies 2.
Adaptive forward lighting, headlights that turn as you do. New Astra, go drive. Test Drive is the new car magazine dedicated to in-depth reviews. So, whether it's a big car you're after, the best value car, or if you're just looking for a small one. Before you decide, take a test drive.
Every now and then something happens which makes you think about life.
or the lack of it. At Direct Line, we don't make a fuss about life insurance. Call 0845 246 2514 and from as little as £8 a month you can cover yourself against death and critical illness.
Direct Line Life Insurance. How can I help you?
I think I need to sort out some life insurance.
Just a few questions and cover can be arranged.
Then if something untoward happens, your family will get a lump sum to help look after essentials like the mortgage. For life cover or to see what you could save on your existing life cover, call 0845 246 2514.
Tough thing to do right now.
One thing, though, we have seen much cleaner racing here today. A couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, they were kind of leaning on each other, to put it lightly.
Yeah, this racetrack does not lend itself to side-by-side racing, three abreast racing, all that sort of thing that a lot of the racetracks do. This racetrack, oh, here comes Mark Taylor, and remember, he did not pit, so he had to come in before everybody else, and his strategy didn't pay off this time because he's going to go a lap down.
And there's Greg Ray, who's a part owner of this Access Motorsports team. Mark Taylor was able to bring some money to this organization because, quite frankly, the team was out of money.
Right, and I'm sure that Greg Ray made that call. He took a gamble, kept his driver out there, hoping that maybe they could stay up front, get another yellow, but didn't do it.
And now we have heard that Greg Ray will be back in the cockpit. They'll run 2 cars at Texas. That's his home state, so he'll be back in action in 2 weeks.
Well, that's good for him. They've got Jeff Britton. He's the new engineer on that team, so you know, maybe they'll get their act together and get going. I'm sure that Greg Ray would love to win in his home state.
Well, he's won the IRL championship, won a lot of pole positions, but simply did not have the financial means to keep this team going until Mark Taylor, who had lost his ride, brought some sponsorship money over from England. We'd like to hear from Greg Ray if possible, from the Access Motorsports pit area. Working on lap 44 with Castro-Neves a half second in front of Rice. And there's the gap back to third, Kanaan. Franchitti is fourth. Weldon is fifth.
Yeah, these guys are strung out just a little bit up here in the first 4 or 5 spots. Right now, no real challenges going on.
On lap 44, we would anticipate pit stops within about 12 laps.
Yeah, I would think you might even see them before that. They might come in about 8 laps maybe, because they'll pit a little earlier on this first time just to make sure the fuel mileage is where they think it is. They may go to 40, they may go 42, 43 laps later, but right now I think they'll come in at 39, 40 laps just to make sure their fuel mileage is where they want it to be.
Approaching the 1/4 mark of this race, a 200 lap event. We're on lap 45 right now, and the gap is just under 1/2 second between Castro-Neves and Buddy Rice. Kanaan remains in third, but Kanaan right now a second and a half back. Try again to hear from Greg Ray, the owner of Access Motorsports.
Very exciting to see Mark Taylor running up front, and great news for you guys, 2-car team.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. Mark's been doing a great job. You know, I thought we had a car that maybe could have won at Chicago. We overcame that little bit of a bad weekend, and he's running good here. We had a great first pit stop. We're getting him sorted with the car, and I think we'll have a good car for the end. So first things first, we're focusing on this weekend, but I'm getting a little excited. Looks like we're going to run 2 cars at Texas. You know, our sponsor, University Loft, is stepping up, and we've created a lot of business for them, so we're getting pretty excited, but first things first today.
Greg Ray, double-duty team owner, and he's getting back in the car. Paul?
Jamie Little with the interview there from pit lane. Well, that pit strategy for Taylor certainly did not work, because now he's a lap off the pace. Now everybody else has to make green flag pit stops. He'll get that lap back.
Right, as long as they have to pit before the yellow comes out next time, he'll be okay. But right now, Thomas Scheckter battling with Adrian Fernandez, and Fernandez, that's for 10th and 11th you're looking at right there. And it looks like Scheckter, oh boy, he's not happy. He's shaking his finger at him. I don't think Fernandez can see that, though.
Well, when you're in the cockpit, it doesn't much matter. You want to get that gesture out there.
You want to get the idea out no matter what.
Well, we know what he means. Let's see what he has in mind now as we ride along with Scheckter into turn 3.
I think think the reason he was a little unhappy, Fernandez went around and pulled right down in front of him. He thought he did that a little too abruptly.
Well, on lap 49, you hear the rev limiter there as they're working for 10th position. Fernandez is 10th, Schechter's 11th. Giafoni in a Chevrolet-powered car is back in 12th. Then it's Matsuura, Foyt, Barron, Sharp, Takagi, and Indy. Now Taylor's a lap back. Carpenter's a lap off the pace.
Schechter, I thought he was pulling down for some reason. I thought he might be heading for the pit area, but he went way high and pulled right down back to the inside. I thought he was maybe slowing up.
Well, the gap has lessened a bit between first and second. Schechter, in fact, is headed back to pit lane.
Yeah. I thought he pulled down and he pulled back up in the racetrack. I thought he was going to keep going, but obviously whatever his problems are, it's pretty tough for him.
The most frustrating season for this team, a team that has won 2 IRL championships. I expected big things to happen with Schechter, but he's been at the wrong spot at the wrong time several times this season. Had that pit altercation where he pulled the fuel tank out, or the fuel line out, and had a fire there in the pit area.
Looked like that was a routine pit stop, though. Looked like it was a managed pit stop. We said the pit stops are going to come between 38 and 42 laps. Well, that was about 38. Well, that was still on the 38th lap since the last pit stop, so he was probably right on schedule. I think everybody else will be coming in the next 2 or 3 laps.
So right now, we'll look for green flag pit laps.
Oops,
and here
we
comes
go.
Elio. Here comes second place. Is Kanaan going to stay out? Oh, he's on the brakes really hard, trying to get that car woed for the speed limit through the pit area. And Kanaan came in as well.
You can see a lot of guys. Franchitti is in. Looks like Weldon is in. It looks like the whole team green has come in.
Well, there's the pit strategy for the captain as he leaves Hornish out. Castroneves comes in.
Took a full fuel load. You can see they were still in there 3 seconds after they put the car down. You can see same here. The car's down, ready to go. Castroneves had a good pit stop. Buddy Rice got out after Kanaan, though, so he
Kanaan picks up a position in the pit lane. Here comes Weldon. There's Mira. And now here comes Hornish.
I think Penske left Hornish out there so he could lead a lap, and he didn't want both those cars in there at exactly the same time.
So Fernandez reassumes the top spot. He is yet to make his pit stop, as has Giafoni, and A.J. Foyt remains out there. So the top 3 are Fernandez, Giafoni, and Foyt.
Wow, that's pretty unusual. They must have somebody on the radio telling him when to go. They had nobody on the right front telling him when to leave the pit area. Oh, Fernandez really locking up the brakes too. As he heads down pit lane. Now we'll see if he can get a better. He needs a good pit stop. This is a green flag pit stop, so he can't afford to have a lousy pit stop here. So we'll see if he can do a little better than he did the last time in.
Well, Giafoni stays out. That would put him at the top spot. With Foyt second.
Everything seems to go good there. Yep, looked like a pretty decent pit stop.
Quickly accelerates out of the pit area.
His pit is clear at the end of pit lane, so he doesn't have to worry about slowing or going slow coming out. He can just get on the throttle and take right off.
So they all make pit stops under this green flag. First pit stops came under that yellow. It came out when Mira brushed the wall and caused a track inspection. That was back between laps 9 and 13. So Castroneves is back in front.
Look how close Kanaan is to him. Rice fell back to third, as we said, and they run just like they came out of the pit area.
So Castroneves leads for the second time here this afternoon. He led laps 16 through 51 before this last round of pit stops. Hornish led a lap, Fernandez led a lap, and then Castroneves back in the lead as they work on lap 56. So Castroneves, Kanaan, Rice, Franchitti, and Hornish.
And Scott Dixon once again is back in 11th place, not having a good day after a terrific qualifying time. Just doesn't appear like he's having very much luck at all come race time. And 11th for him is not really good.
Or Takagi getting out of the way in the number 12 Pioneer Mo Nunn entry.
He's the first car to actually be lapped on the racetrack today. Everybody running pretty well, pretty equal, but he is a lap down now.
Complete lap 56. There's the gap between first and second.
Yeah, Kanaan, there goes Thomas Ingy. He's going to go a lap down in that Patrick Racing car, as he's moved way up the racetrack and lets the leaders go on by.
Is the fourth different driver in that car this season. Al Unser drove it early. Then after he announced his retirement, Jeff Simmons was in it. He ran, I think, one race before Jacques Lazier climbed on board. He ran like 3 or 4 races. And now Ingy comes on board for this race and next, the last race of the season. But now they're saying he'll come back next year with Jacques Lazier as the second driver.
Well, that's good for the IRL. I think both of those guys are very competent. We know that Jacques Lazier is. We've seen him run a lot in the IRL. And, of course, the more cars you have, the more competition, and the better off the IRL is, quite honestly.
Well, also, we're seeing more and more multi-car teams as far as feedback. When you get more information, the more cars you have. If you have the sponsorship to put the package together, look what Andretti Green has done this season.
Well, and I think that proves true with all forms of racing. If you've got 2 or 3 cars all giving you feedback, you can progress much quicker than you can relying on one guy and one team and one engineer.
Patrick Racing, car number 20 now, lap off the pace here on lap 59. Live coverage from California. 2 weeks from today, we wrap it all up at Texas Motor Speedway. Outside the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Castroneves is your leader over Kanaan. Rice, after the pit stop, is in 3rd position. Franchitti is 4th, then Hornish. So we have in the top 5, we have 2 Penske teammates and 2 Andretti Green teammates. And right in the middle of that mix is the Rahal Letterman driver, Buddy Rice.
Yeah, Townsend Bell running in 6th. He's doing a nice job. He's really, he didn't qualify all that well, but he's done a very nice job. The highest running Chevrolet at this point. Mirror back in 7th. Taylor, who is out of sequence with everybody else, hanging on there in 8th spot.
Not bad for Mira, considering he brought out that first yellow when he brushed the wall, got very high and did not damage the car. Well, here was the start as Fernandez got a very good start, picked up a couple of positions and led the first lap.
And he just went high. And there you can see Thomas Schechter already in trouble as he's just trying to get out of everybody's way heading towards the top of the racetrack.
And Kanaan was on the move, picked up 10 spots in 2 laps.
Yeah, that was some incredible racing that we saw him do there in those first few laps as he just blew by guys very, very early in the race.
See, by lap 16, the Andretti Green team was running 1-2, and then a couple of laps later, the Penske team was running 1-2. And now it's Penske driver Castroneves out in front. Andretti Green driver Kanaan runs in 2nd. Toyota leads. Honda running 2nd and 3rd. Rice there is 3rd. Franchitti with a Honda is 4th. And then Hornish with a Toyota is in 5th position. The best Chevy so far is Townsend Bell back in 6th.
You can see, though, those first 3 cars have pulled out to quite a lead on everybody else. They're like 4 or 5 seconds ahead of 4th place Franchitti. Franchitti then has got a pretty nice lead on Hornish, and it's pretty strung out. But these first 3 cars certainly have pulled away from everyone else.
Looking back to see where Weldon is, who is 2nd in the point standings. He's back in 9th position. Now remember, no matter what happens on the racetrack, if Kanaan comes away with 54-point margin over 2nd place, he's won the title. But there will be no major celebration. Well, they'll celebrate certainly. Team will celebrate, but there's no official presentation today.
Right. So if they would, the race would end as it is right now, Kanaan would definitely be the champion because Weldon has to beat him. He has to gain some points. He's 75 points behind, so he's got to gain points on Tony Kanaan during this race.
Weldon right now mired back in 9th position. Taylor is 10th with all the trouble Schechter's had with the misfire in that Chevrolet engine. He's in 11th. Dixon is 12th, then Barron, Giafoni, Matsura, Foyt, Sharp, Carpenter. Carpenter has gotten his lap back. He's on the tail of the lead lap. Then Ingy is 1 lap down, as is Takagi. Herta is 11 laps off the pace.
Yeah.
They are showing Manning 63 laps down, but that's only because he was here this weekend, but did not start. But
right, he didn't even start the race, so he's. But it's going to be interesting to see how this thing plays out. Castroneves in that Toyota looks as strong as we've seen the Toyota look for quite some time. They've worked extremely hard on that engine. They have gained a lot of horsepower. The Honda guys that I talked to still thought they were a little short of the horsepower that the Honda was developing. But here today, Castroneves seems to have everything together. But handling is an important part of this racetrack. Handling is as important a part here as it is on some of the short tracks, unlike maybe Texas or Chicago or some of those places where you can get by with a little bit of a car that's not handling quite as well.
Vito Mira, number 17. And that is Weldon right behind him. That is the battle for 8th position. And right now, if this were to end, Kanaan would clinch the title with 93 points over his closest pursuer.
Yeah, and Townsend Bell continues to run up pretty well, but it seems like he's gone backwards the last couple of laps. Fernandez got around him. Now then it looks like Mira's going to go around, and Weldon won't be far behind.
And of course, Bell has the Chevrolet power plant. The best Chevrolet so far in the race is Townsend Bell in 7th. Schechter has a Chevy in 10th. Barron and Giafoni with Chevys back in 13th and 14th. Eddie Carpenter now a lap off the pace as he heads back to the pit area. The graduate with a marketing degree from Butler University in Indianapolis.
Yeah, they're working on something over there on that left side. So he's got bigger problems than just a flat tire that we thought might have happened to him the first time. Because they're working on, look like the suspension over there. As we see Dan Weldon now going around Bell.
Goes to the inside on lap 69 to take over that position. So Bell drops to 9th. Weldon moves up to 8th. But this battle that we're watching right now is well off the leaders. In fact, they're battling almost 13 seconds behind Helio Castroneves.
Yeah, and that's quite a margin that they're back there. It's going to be interesting to see, you know, if these guys keep running at this pace, they're going to be putting a lap on some of these guys pretty quickly. So I don't know. I think some of these guys are wishing for a pit stop or a yellow flag right away so they can make some changes in the chassis.
Well, Castroneves has opened up his lead to now just over a half second. Doesn't look like much on the racetrack, but when you're running a half second behind a guy and you can't close down that gap, it's a big margin.
Well, this racetrack, as we said, it does not lend itself to that pack of cars type racing that we see on a lot of racetracks. It's a big, fast racetrack. You got to handle well. You got to have a lot of horsepower. And if you get those two things going at the same time, it's very difficult for people to draft you and stay up with you. And we're seeing that right now as Castroneves is pulled away a little bit from everybody.
5 different leaders this afternoon. Fernandez led for 12 laps early. Taylor led for a couple of laps under the yellow with the first round of pit stops. Weldon led for 1 lap. Castroneves led for a number of laps between 16 and 51. Our 5th different leader was Hornish. He led for only 1 lap before making his pit stop. And Castroneves came back out after his pit stop in front and now leads on lap 72. So 0.5 of a second between first and second. Rice now 3rd, 1.2 seconds back. Then is Franchitti and Hornish, 71 of 200 laps. Pushing condition.
Yep,
and right there.
Right there. He gets up high coming through right through the middle of turns 1 and 2. Then he seems like kind of gathered up actually getting off at 2 and gets down the back straightaway. But getting into 1 seems to be where he's really having the most problem.
And he doesn't clear Franchitti enough to pull back down in front of him. So they work on lap 77, and this battle for position is well back of your leaders, Castroneves and Kanaan. This battle is some 11 seconds behind the leader.
Well, and while they're running side by side, look
Here
at
comes
this.
Kanaan.
Buddy Rice and Kanaan battling each other. The one thing that's happening, though, is when these guys are running side by side, it gives the guy in front of them a chance to pull away.
Yeah,
that's what happened. When Hornish and Franchitti started running side by side, they were 9 seconds back of the leader. The last look, they were like 11 and a half or 12 seconds. So they've lost like 3 seconds while they were running side by side.
Right now, you have to think Kanaan would be very content to stay where he is. And if he's being challenged for that position, well, he's not content with something.
Well, I'm not. I think he's telling him to go on by. I think he said, go on by on the inside. I'm going to let you go.
That's what I'm going to say. I would think if he's being pressured at this junction, he's got a championship to win. Let him go.
Oh, it looked like, buddy, they almost collided right there. He didn't want that to happen. But it looked like he started to pull down behind Buddy Rice and almost didn't allow enough room and almost pulled into his right rear tire. But I'm sure that's what he was doing. He's saying, hey, I don't want to battle you this hard, pal. You go on by and I'll follow you for a while.
I've completed every lap this season. Let's just go ahead and run like this. You go on by me and I'll run in third for a while.
Yep.
Maybe single file we can catch up to Castro Nevis.
Well, and those two have made no qualms about the fact that sometimes they question the drivers, what the other driver was doing on the racetrack.
Here it is again.
You know that he's been on the outside of him. He's been trying to go around.
He's watching the mirror.
Yep. He's waving at him.
Go on by.
Go on by. If you go down to the inside, I'm going to let you go. Buddy Rice gets the message, moves down there, and goes on by.
Well, it's a good way to dislocate your shoulder, raising your arm that high out of the race car.
We have seen that happen before. If you raise your arm out of the cockpit that far, it'd be much easier to call into your spotter and say, hey, go tell him to go by me.
Working on lap 80, and the lead right now has expanded to over 7/10 of a second. Kanaan over a second back at third.
Well,
and Hornish and Franchitti.
Now they're coming up on some lap traffic. That's Scott Sharp in front of them. We'll see if this lap traffic has any effect, and I imagine it will. We'll see who's better getting through the traffic.
We'll see what spotter tells his driver to stay steady or get out of the way. Sharp back in the 17th position. Right now only 17 drivers on the lead lap. And Sharp goes a lap down. Matsura will be next, then Mr. Foyt.
Yeah, and they're Tony Kanaan would rather finish third than
not finish at all.
That's right. Battle these guys and not finish at all. So there goes Buddy Rice around Scott Sharp. But it appears to me that he has really closed up on Castro Nevis while they're battling with Scott Sharp.
Well, Sharp gets out of the way. Let's Kanaan go on by. You know, Larry, I'm surprised. We have not heard much talk this weekend about what we call the silly season. It's about this time of year you hear about drivers changing rides for next year. We've talked about some guys that have cemented their rides for next year and staying put where they are now, but not a lot of talk this weekend about maybe like Mr. Foyt, where he might go next year, or whether Kelly's actually going to come back next year. Kelly Racing, if Foyt Racing will come back next year.
Look at Fernandez. He has caught Hornish and Franchitti and just blew by Franchitti. So Fernandez, after really having a couple of bad pit stops, really on the racetrack, is running very well.
Once again, Castro Nevis enjoying that 7/10 of a second lead over Rice. Kanaan has closed in a bit. He's only 8/10 of a second back. They have been running through traffic.
And look at this. Fernandez just goes to the inside of Hornish and goes by him.
Fourth position. So Hornish drops to fifth. Franchitti now is sixth. So the old man's getting real racy.
An extremely fast race car on the racetrack, especially, well, the very first segment and this segment too.
Well, they're getting ready for pit stops down below us. About 5 laps before pit stops. Now in lap 85. Castro Nevis continues to lead, his second time this afternoon to lead. As you look back from Fernandez's car to Hornish. Fernandez now is fourth. Hornish is fifth. Then Franchitti, Weldon, Mira, Bell, and Schechter. We've had but one yellow flag this afternoon. That was for a track inspection back on lap 9 when Vito Mira got very high and brushed the outside safer barrier.
Now Dan Weldon has caught this pack, and he's trying to get around his teammate Franchitti. So he too on the move. Once Fernandez got in front of these guys, they could kind of tag onto him and keep up with him. But he was much stronger than they were when he was behind them.
This is the battle back for 6th position. Franchitti and his teammate Dan Weldon. They're now his 8th. Scheckter has moved up to 9th position, so it's been an eventful afternoon for Thomas Scheckter after that misfire on the start. He's made a couple of pit stops to correct that.
Well, while these guys are up here battling each other, it's allowing Mira and Scheckter and these guys to kind of close in on them too. So the more they run side by side, the better it is for the guys behind them who's trying to catch them.
Well, we're looking for pit stops in about 3 to 4 laps as you watch this battle for 6th position. Two Andretti Green teammates, Franchitti in the blue car on the left of your screen, and the red and white car of Weldon. And there right in front of them is Hornish, and right in front of Hornish is Fernandez. So 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th right together on the racetrack. Live coverage from California Speedway. Castroneves has a slim lead over Rice, and then Kanaan about a second back in 3rd, but a great battle back there for 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. First driver in on this pit window would be Thomas Scheckter.
As he has been on every segment, he's been the first guy to stop during every green flag pit stop. The Chevrolets must not be getting quite as good a gas mileage, or at least the Panther Chevrolet not getting as good a gas mileage, fuel mileage as some of the other guys. Because he was running very well. He'd come up a long way from what started out to be a disastrous day.
Up in front, there's the gap between 1st and 2nd. Castroneves and Rice. We'll expect to see both in probably 2. No, right here, they're coming in now.
Yeah, I thought they'd wait a little longer too, but everybody heading in, so Scheckter wasn't that much out of sequence, 1 lap.
Castroneves has to almost flat spot the tires to get that car slowed down in the pit lane.
Going to change them anyway.
Taking off the shields, little plastic tear-offs.
Well, everything appears to be routine. Now you'll notice again that they'll be their left front guy is the one that tells him when to go. A little bit unusual. Usually it's the guy in the right front. You can see right there as he got out very well. Kanaan second. Buddy Rice had to get out of the throttle just a little bit as a couple of cars came in front of him and cut down across in front of him, and that probably cost him a little bit of time there in the pit area. Look at Franchitti and Weldon drag racing each other out of here.
Well, Fernandez stays out. He does not make a pit stop, so he leads for the 3rd time this afternoon.
Well, we'll see. He was in 6th spot when this series started, so we'll see if that's how he ends up after his pit stop. Hornish also has not pitted yet, so
Barron stays out, Foyt stays out, Giaffoni stays out. So right now in the lead, well, here comes
Fernandez and Hornish.
Fernandez hard on the brakes. You see the tire smoke.
He did the same thing last time. Not a problem.
Leads 1 lap as he stays out 1 extra lap to the rest of the leaders. And that would put Barron up in front. So Barron, Foyt, and Giaffoni will have to make their pit stops. And that would give the lead back to Castroneves.
Fernandez's last pit stop did not look that bad, as this one didn't look that bad. Looked like he did everything pretty much right, except look at that. It looked like a good pit stop, but still Hornish beats him out. He beats him out by 5 or 6 car lengths. So on the racetrack, 1 second can, or who knows, well, I don't have a stopwatch, so I don't know how much, but I'm guessing maybe 1 second can make that kind of difference on the racetrack. A huge amount of difference.
You see how much gap there is between those 2 cars as they head into turn 3. And after all the pit stops, Castroneves comes back out in the lead on lap 93. So we're approaching the halfway point. AJ finally makes his pit stop. He was up in the 2nd position when he came in.
Yeah, he had gone a lap down a little earlier. He was hoping for a pit stop, or a yellow flag, I mean, would help him, but he didn't get that. I think they short fueled that car too. They went out very quickly. I think he short fueled it hoping for a yellow flag so he could get back on the lead lap.
We had a couple of close calls there in the pit area on this last pit stop. Now watch this.
Right there, you see Buddy Rice back there? See those 2 cars? That's what I was talking about. He had to get out of the throttle. That cost him a little time getting out on the racetrack and probably allowed Kanaan to beat him out. because those cars cut down right in front of him. I think one of them was Franchitti's
teammate,
yeah.
Weldon.
They cut right down in front of him, and he had no choice but to get out of the throttle.
Look at this. Rice goes by. This is the battle for second. There goes Giafoni.
I think Buddy Rice has been the second fastest race car, if not the fastest race car on the racetrack. And right here's the other guy that's been fast. Castroneves, Fernandez, and Buddy Rice on the racetrack have been the three fastest cars, I think, even though Kanon's been right up there with them.
Kanon's not going to get his nose dirty this afternoon.
No,
he's going to keep it clean.
Meanwhile, Fernandez now jumps to the outside after falling back to fifth. He's going to try to get back around Hornish right away.
Battle for fourth. Usually we see Hornish on the outside.
Well, Fernandez looks to be very comfortable out there. Fernandez and Weldon, Franchitti and Weldon right behind them, those guys. So kind of a four-car horse race right now.
Look at Weldon right there, tucked in behind Fernandez. And this is the battle for fourth, fifth, and sixth.
And that's Franchitti you see back there just a little ways behind those guys. Not very far, but far enough that in those onboard cameras make it appear a little bit farther than it really is.
Well, now Hornish loses a position and decides to go a little higher on the racetrack. He was stuck down low. Fernandez had him trapped on the low side, so Fernandez goes to fourth. Hornish has fallen back behind Weldon. So Weldon goes to fifth, Hornish drops to sixth, and here comes Franchitti.
Yeah, Franchitti trying to catch these guys, and it looks like Weldon running at least as fast as Fernandez is as they get into some lap traffic again.
As they approach the halfway point, this is lap 98 they're working on. Look at them stacked up there.
Man.
Fernandez down low. Almost contact as they go by Toru Takagi. Takagi now is 2 laps off the pace.
Look at this. Hornish goes way to the outside, 3 wide, trying to get back around Dan Weldon.
Well, I thought Weldon was going to lose some momentum going around Takagi.
Wow, they got close really right there.
And but look at the big gainer is Franchitti.
Well, when they run side by side like that, you know, the guy behind you is going to get a little bit of an advantage. Oh, Hornish had to just fall back in behind.
And here goes Franchitti. Boy, he pulls out to the high side. Thought he was going to have a run on him.
Yeah, it looked like he might have. Scott Dixon, we might mention, back in the 11th spot. Still on the lead lap, but certainly not as strong as he had hoped to be after that great qualifying time.
Well, Taylor now is 12th. That means 12 cars are on the lead lap, 98 of 200 laps. Castroneves is out in front.
It's Saturday, World Cup qualifiers. At 2:30, Scotland versus Norway. Birdie votes under pressure to kickstart Scotland's campaign with a home win. At 5:30, Azerbaijan v Northern Ireland. A tough test for Laurie Sanchez and his squad. At 7:30, it's Austria versus Poland. Check out England's opposition as the group leaders look to pile on the pressure. Plus, at 9:30, highlights from England's clash with Wales. The road to Germany. Saturday from 2:30, Sky Sports 1.
Test Drive is the new car magazine dedicated to in-depth reviews. So, whether it's a big car you're after, the best value car, or if you're just looking for a small one, before you decide, take a test drive.
Nope. No. Mm-mm. No. You, get in the van.
Where does that go? What does that taste like?
What's over there? Where will your curiosity take you? P&O Cruises. There's a world out there.
I was driving home from work when suddenly a car swerved across the road and hit me head on. My neck and back were badly hurt. I phoned the National Accident Helpline. Their local solicitor got me £3,400. She was really great.
If you've had an accident in the last 3 years at work or on the road, find out free if you can make a no-win, no-fee claim. Call the National Accident Helpline now on 0800 556 557.
Loses all that momentum, all that extra speed he gets from the draft. He can't carry it through the corner, and therefore he can't get out there and pass Fernandez.
We've gone past the halfway point now, 103 laps complete. But still a sizable lead between first and second, 2.6 seconds. So Castroneves looking for his first win of the year. He's had 4 pole positions.
Yeah, Weldon still following Fernandez, trying to get around him. Hornish and Franchitti kind of doing the same thing back there. Now then, Kanaan, I think Buddy Rice has slowed up some because Kanaan now has caught back up with him and maybe giving him a challenge for second place. Remember, right after the pit stop, Buddy Rice caught Kanaan and went around him. Now then, that little situation seems to be reversed.
Castroneves has finished second this season. He finished third on 3 occasions, but has yet to find victory lane. You look at Rice and Kanaan. This is the battle for second, and I use that term battle very loosely because in the championship overall, he's not going to try to force the issue.
Well, he doesn't need to. He doesn't have to, and he's
doesn't want to.
No, doesn't want to. Doesn't need. You know, he's going to do what he has to do to win the championship. That's first and foremost. Every driver is going to tell you that they go out there to win the race. Well, I can tell you from his perspective, it's much more important now, today, to finish this race, go out here with the championship, than it is to win this race.
And you hear drivers talking about, like at a time like this or late in the race when they're leading, that they can hear every little sound that race car makes, and they just think the car is going to fall apart under them.
Yeah.
They hear sounds they never hear the rest of the season.
That's right, and you know, they've still got a long way to go out here, but when you're not battling, when you're not concentrating on trying to get around somebody, or as Castroneves is now, he's got a pretty nice lead. Well, then you do start thinking about other things once in a while, and you know, you've got to keep your mind on the job at hand.
Castroneves continues to open up that gap over second place. Now Rice is more than 3 seconds back. Kanaan is 3.2 seconds back. They ride nose to tail on the racetrack, but that really, as we say, is not a battle for position because Kanaan is not going to take a chance. There is Fernandez looking back at Weldon, and they go by Matsuura, who is not having a very good ride. He's a lap off the pace back in 16th position as his teammate and boss drives by. Weldon with a good ride. Yep. Started back in 13th position. Said, as you heard him say, 13 is an unlucky number in England as it is in America. I want to hear from Chip Ganassi, who is the owner of Dixon's car, which is back in 11th position.
And of course, Darren Manning out of today's race, did not start because of a crash in qualifying yesterday. For those of you who just tuned in, he was okay. He was released from the hospital, but they decided to give him a few days rest and not start him in today's race. Wow.
A rev limiter.
I guess he's on a rev limiter. Big time.
Doing that for a long way through that corner. As they go by Takagi.
Yeah, Takagi went up towards the fence. Man.
Who I'm sure is watching from the hospital right now. Have you spoken to Darren, and how are his spirits?
He's fine. You know, Jamie, he has a slight compression fracture in his back. There's no surgery or anything like that required. It's just a matter of him laying low for a couple of weeks.
Chip Ganassi, of course, the owner of the number 1 and number 10 car. Let's talk about Scott Dixon. He's out there. He's looking very fast, very competitive, but I understand you guys are losing some places on pit road.
You know, Toyota's been really good to us. They've given us more power this weekend, and you know, we're just not taking full advantage of it right now. We had a little mix-up yesterday in the race practice, and we're just not taking full advantage of the power we have right now.
Oh, last pit stop, you guys. Chip told me Scott's second gear is too tall for pit road, so that's where they're losing time. But right now, his times are up to speed with the leaders.
Right now, Dixon is back in 11th position with that pink paint job. You can't tell how pink it is from this camera position here, but that's to honor the breast cancer awareness program here in America. But right now he's back in 11th. And when Chip Ganassi says they have more horsepower, you think, man, don't waste it or making mistakes in the pit area or anything else.
Yeah, but they obviously have some other issues, but there's a guy that doesn't have any issues. He's got more horsepower, and he's taking advantage of it.
And the lead has been maintained at 3 seconds. As you look back to second position, and there is Buddy Rice up in second position, but Kanaan now is back in third, but he's 3.5 seconds back of your leader.
Yeah, but it looks like he's going to challenge a little bit. I think Buddy Rice might be repaying the favor, just pulling over and saying, why don't you go on around? You can see Brian Herta back there. He's 13 laps down, but he is back on the racetrack. And whatever that problem was they had there at the beginning of the race, he started the race like 12 laps down. He's only 13 laps down now, but they did get the problem fixed, whatever it was.
So we see a change of position, and Kanaan goes to second, but now in that change of position, they've lost even more ground to Castroneves. So in the second half of this race, Castroneves has been the dominant driver.
Yeah, there's no question
different
about
times, and he's led the most laps right now. So the 3 bonus points would go to Kanaan, or go to Castroneves. There's a look at Foyt. AJ now a lap off the pace, back in 13th position.
He started in 7th, but he has been much stronger the last couple of races. He did brush the wall on Friday. Not a great deal of damage. They got everything going again, but he has looked a lot better in the last 2 or 3 races than he did before.
And that is a battle for position right there with Alex Barron. Barron is down in the 14th position. Foyt is 13th. And Taylor, who's a lap off the pace, is 12th.
Yeah, and we talked about when Foyt crashed Chicagoland, he did break a half shaft. They did confirm that he did break when he went up and took he and Mark Taylor out at that race.
But I think that was from earlier contact on the racetrack that damaged the half shaft, or weakened the half shaft.
I just want to mention that AJ Senior, he dislocated his shoulder out working on a Caterpillar or something this week, and he said it really hurt like heck. He was in a lot of pain this weekend.
But AJ, you can't rear back and hit the Caterpillar because it doesn't do what you want it to do.
Your fist is going to lose.
We also want to say hi to a former IRL car owner who is having some tough times in an Indianapolis hospital, Jonathan Bird, doing some sheet time there and some rehab. So we wish him well back in Indianapolis. He won a race at Vegas Motor Speedway one time a few years back. I believe it was John Paul Jr. was driving the car at that time.
And there is Sam Hornish back in 6th spot currently. Franchitti right behind him. They're just kind of hanging on a few seconds behind Fernandez and Weldon, but not really going forward right now, just kind of maintaining until the next pit stop.
This is the biggest gap we have seen between first and second in a number of races.
I can't tell you the last time we saw the field spread out this far. We've become so accustomed to these guys running 2 and 3 abreast and side by side and swapping the lead that it's very unusual to see the cars spread out only by a couple of seconds, but still they're spread out a lot more than usual.
Matsura, as we talked about, has re-upped with Fernandez for 2005, but he's a lap off the pace, back in 16th position.
Yeah, and here's Scott Sharp, and what's going to happen with this team next year is still a little bit uncertain. They say they have everything in line and they're going to be back, but we still keep hearing rumblings that Kelly Racing might not come back and race next year.
Well, this is the 97th consecutive race for Scott Sharp. He has driven in more of these events than anyone. In fact, the co-champion from year number 1 with Buzz Calkins. Buzz was the victor in the very first Indy Racing League event, which was staged at Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida. Right along with Thomas Scheckter. Scheckter back in the 9th position, so despite all the problems he's had, he's still in the top 10.
Yeah, it's Vito Mira right in front of him. That is a battle for position. Those two guys running 8th and 9th. Schecter's been running right in that same position for a while now.
Townsend Bell. When you look back at Dixon, Townsend Bell is 10th, Dixon is 11th. So a battle for position on lap 120.
Right there, you can see he had to get way out of the throttle because he pushed up almost to the wall coming off of turn 2.
As your leader goes by Tora Takaki and putting Takaki another lap down. He's now 3 laps off the pace as the watchful eye of the captain here on lap 121.
October on Sky Box Office.
I'm not really big on the whole long-term commitment thing.
Jennifer Aniston, Ben Stiller.
I don't want freedom. I want to be married.
Along came Polly.
I've had my disappointments, Charlie.
Annette Bening, Kevin Costner.
I'm not going to be one of them.
Open Range.
Perhaps we might take a walk.
Nicole Kidman, Jude Law. Cold Mountain.
He's cute. The Bond.
That's great.
And they're back. Starsky and Hutch.
Make nice.
October on Sky Box Office. Films at your fingertips.
Be careful what you wish for, because you're gonna get it! Wow! The most magical animated adventure of all time is coming to Disney DVD for the first time, including amazing bonus features like Aladdin's Magic Carpet Adventure. Aladdin, the 2-disc special edition on Disney DVD, now.
Major luck.
Because you never know when. Lynx 24/7 works 24 hours a day.
Test Drive is the new car magazine dedicated to in-depth reviews. So, whether it's a big car you're after, the best value car, or if you're just looking for a small one, before you decide, take a test drive.
There was an accident, the virus escaped, and everybody died. Trouble was, they didn't stay dead.
Resident Evil Apocalypse.
The new fragrance for men from Lacoste.
Second in points. He started 13th, is currently 5th. Herta would love to win before the season's out because he's seen all of his teammates in victory lane. And usually when they drive to victory lane, he's one of the first guys there to congratulate them.
Right, and he the reason he's so far down, of course, is because he at the start of the race he had a problem, didn't get going for the first 11 or 12 laps, just 12 laps behind when he actually got on the racetrack.
So Castro Nevitz, who has led 3 different times here this afternoon, picked up the lead for the first time on lap 16 as he went around Weldon and led through lap 51 when he made a pit stop.
Well, pit stops are going to start again here in just another 2 or 3 laps because you know, it's about time, and I'm sure Buddy Rice is ready for that because his car seems to be going away. And here comes Thomas Scheckter. He's always been the first guy in, so you're going to see
hit it a lap earlier than the rest of them the last time around.
That's right. He got off sequence on his very first pit stop, so he's been a lap earlier than everybody every pit stop since then. So you're going to see Castroneves and everybody else heading in probably next time or the time after that. That's always the first indication. Here comes Buddy Rice. So he came in almost identical, well, the very next lap after Scheckter.
So Castroneves retains the lead as we go to green flag pit stops. The third stop of the afternoon.
Very unusual to see this long of green flag racing time. Here comes the rest of them. Here comes Castroneves. Here comes Kanaan. The rest of these guys. We'll see if Buddy Rice, if that was a good move not to pit with the leaders or a bad move, as he may have lost the draft and he may come out bent worse. But if you got a good pit stop, he may also come out with the lead.
Well, as they go to work, any change to the slight adjustment there.
Boy, that's pretty unusual. Boy, this is a long pit stop. That was a very, very long pit stop for some reason.
They were just waiting to get the fuel in because they changed the tires and made the wing adjustment.
But see, whatever the reason, they didn't get the fuel in, and Kanaan comes out ahead of Castroneves. Because of that, what seemed to be a long pit stop, and obviously was longer than Kanaan's.
Well, Fernandez reassumes the lead through these pit stops.
Yeah, he's always run a couple of laps longer than anybody else. Here comes Franchitti.
Weldon has stayed out. Hornish has stayed out. Dixon has stayed out. Bell and Foyt both stay out, so we'll scramble for positions here on the green flag pit stop.
Well, Franchitti again looks, and they made a front wing adjustment. Uh-oh.
Killed it.
Now, right there, that was a great job. They held him up. He started to take off. That vent hose did not come out, and they held him up. He could have kept going and pulled that fuel tank over if somebody hadn't been on the ball.
So Fernandez comes in, gives the lead to Hornish. But Hornish will likely be in the next time around.
Weldon was right behind him. Here we'll get a good chance to see if Fernandez has any trouble in the pit area. He and Weldon came in at exactly the same time. So we'll see what happens here. Weldon's down first. No, he had a good pit stop that time. He was as good as Weldon's.
And no change to the chassis. Tires and fuel. Scott Sharp comes out. Here comes Hornish.
See if Hornish can have a good pit stop. He needs a good pit stop to kind of get himself back in front of a couple of those guys. Obviously, once he's in front of them, he can run with them, but he's had a tough time passing anybody on the racetrack.
The Penske crew, normally one of the best in the business in the pit area.
And that seemed to be very good that time. It seemed like his fuel, I'm not sure why Castroneves took so long to get fuel in. It seemed like it took him a second or two longer than it did anybody else that pit stop for some reason.
Foyt stays out. Foyt may be credited with leading this race.
Well, that'd be a great deal.
Next time around.
Great thing for him. Oh,
he's peeling off. Granddad brought him in. He was going to lead a lap.
And here comes your leader, Tony Kanaan. What a surprise. I don't know how long he's going to stay there, though, because Castroneves is going to go right after him. Already he's doing so down in turn 1 and 2.
Sixth leader this afternoon.
Now, Castroneves is going to try to get out there and block you behind that lap car. Don't think he's going to be able to do it, though.
He sneaks by on the inside. Well, wouldn't this be the story if he clinches the title by winning the race from the back of the pack?
And Buddy Rice is right there with him. He's right behind those two guys, so it really tightened up the lead as Castroneves had a little bit worse pit stop than both Rice and Kanaan had.
6 different leader this afternoon. Fernandez, Taylor, Weldon, Castroneves, Hornish, Kanaan. First time that Kanaan has led this afternoon. Pit stop got him in a position to assume the top spot.
Yeah, and once he's out front, we all know he's very tenacious. He doesn't give up that lead very easily, no matter who you are or what you are. And I don't think this race is going to be any different, championship or not.
Well, he completed all the laps of competition so far and has led the most laps this season, and he's back at the point again. Tony Kanaan over Castroneves, Buddy Rice, Adrian Fernandez. Kanaan completed 2,905 laps. All of those laps in competition. Castroneves completed 97% of all the laps of competition this season. And guess who's back in front?
Yeah, as we said, Kanaan's not going to give up the lead easily. You know, Castroneves just pulled to the inside and went on around. Boy, Castroneves is really hooked up. That thing is very, very quick.
Well, before today, Tony Kanaan had led 859 laps. And that was more than twice what Dan Weldon had led at 415. Franchitti had led 347. You start adding those things up, and that Andretti Green team has led a whole lot of laps this season.
Yes, they have. And boy, Castroneves is just unbelievably hooked up. He is just so fast. He made that look so easy when he ran around Kanaan. It's unreal. So we'll see if he can keep that up. I'm sure these guys, now that they've got the toe, they'll be able to keep up with him, but whether they can ever pass him and catch him again, don't know. There's going to be at least one more pit stop before this race is over, so and maybe 2. We'll have to see how things play out.
Once again, we've completed 135 laps with Castroneves now the leader over Kanaan. Live coverage continues from the California Speedway. Castroneves out in front. Kanaan led for a few laps after that pit stop.
Yeah, and then once Castroneves caught him, he just pulled down to the inside and went on around him. Fernandez continues to lead Dan Weldon. They're about 9 seconds off the leader and not able to close in. They've been running about that same distance behind him for a while.
Just over 3,000 laps of competition this season. The Andretti Green teammates have led 1,678.
Unbelievable, really. I mean, they have had a terrific year, and you know, what can you say? I mean, to lead over half the laps between the, you know, their Andretti Green team, that's pretty phenomenal, really.
And although Herta's not having the kind of season these other guys are having, Herta has led 67 laps this season. Back up in front, the top three run right together on lap 138.
Yeah, doesn't look like Kanaan. It actually looks like Kanaan has actually caught Castroneves a little bit here in the last couple of laps. So whatever happened, Castroneves pulled away a little bit. Now then it seems like he and Rice, Kanaan and Rice, are both just slowly but surely creeping up on Castroneves.
Tony Kanaan's wife looking on from the scorer's stand there in the pit area. Has the headset on so she can hear the conversation between the car and the spotter, as well as the car in the pit lane.
Well, I'm sure she would love to have this championship wrapped up too, because I'm sure it'd make life at home a lot easier for the next couple of weeks if he has that championship wrapped up.
Well, right now, although he's riding in second position, and right behind him is Buddy Rice, you have to believe that he is driving for the championship.
Well, if he finishes ahead of Dan Weldon, he wins the championship. It's simple as that. So Dan Weldon has got to pull some magic out somewhere. But right now, Tony Kanaan seems to be one of the fastest, if not the fastest guy on the racetrack, at least one of the 2 or 3 fastest guys on the racetrack.
Well, he was the fastest guy on the racetrack of the top 3 that last lap.
Actually, Fernandez and Weldon, if there were a yellow, those 2 guys are running just about as fast as the top 3 guys. But they got so far behind during that one segment back there a couple of segments ago that they just have not been able to catch up, because it's all been green flag laps since, what, lap 10?
Yeah, because they're racing right now for 4th position, but they're still about 9.5 seconds behind. Yeah, we've not had a yellow. The last yellow period was that period between laps 9 and 13. So we've gone about 128 laps of green flag racing.
Yeah, and they're going to have to make one more pit stop, and if everything goes according, if there are no more yellows, they can get by on just one more pit stop. So it'll be interesting to see. Anything can happen in this racing, but right now Kanaan is a little bit quicker on the racetrack. Not much, but just a little bit quicker than Helio Castroneves.
Well, he may be, Larry, a little quicker, but I just don't think that he's going to push the issue at this point. There's Brian Herta. We talked about him losing like 12 laps at the start of the race. Have been running on speed with the leaders, but he's back in for...
I think this is a routine pit stop. He's kind of off...
way off sequence.
Yeah, way off sequence because of everything that's been going on. So he just had to make a regular pit stop. Doesn't really matter. He's 12 laps back, so slow pit stop, fast pit stop, what the heck's the difference?
A wider, higher line through the first corner for Tony Kanaan. The gap is about 0.2 of a second. There you see it there, about 4 car lengths down the backstretch. He closes in.
He's been slowly closing in for the last 6 or 7 laps, and closing in is one thing. Passing him is going to be something else. But he's certainly letting Helio Castroneves know that he is there. And as we've seen most of the year, when Buddy Rice is on the racetrack and not having problems, he's right up in the front too, and a contender to win this race. Actually, Fernandez and Weldon have closed in over the last 8 or 10 laps too, so it may be that Castroneves has slowed up a little bit, still able to hold off Kanaan and allowing Fernandez and Weldon to close in on him.
Well, the bonus points for leading the most laps would go to Castroneves right now, but that's of nothing of any significance to Kanaan.
Yep, Kanaan moves to the outside. If he can pass him easily, he'll pass him. If it's going to be a struggle, if he's going to have to take any chances, You're right. He's not gonna take any unnecessary.
They start battling for a position up there in front, and here comes Mr. Rice.
Yeah, well, Buddy Rice is, believe me, he's thinking about taking advantage of this in any way that he can. If those two guys do get to running side by side, he'll be right in the middle of it in a short second.
3 guys all set for next season with the same teams. Only Kanan would like to take off one of those numbers on the nose of that race car.
Be interesting to see if he would run the number 1. A lot of drivers are superstitious.
Won't do that.
Yes, a lot of people are superstitious about that number, and it hasn't brought very many people luck that I remember anyway.
A lot of drivers refuse to run number 1 despite the fact that they're eligible for it.
The Undertaker.
Rest in peace.
JBL.
Undertaker, I am not intimidated.
WWE No Mercy in association with Day of Reckoning, Wednesday, 9 p.m. Sky Sports 2.
Well, you did it. Like me, you've discovered that All Brand can help you feel good on the inside.
With just one bowl a day, I really do feel the difference.
Oh, you guys. I wanted to leave you something to remember me by. Brand new All Brand Bran Flakes Yogurty. Tasty, yogurty-coated flakes. Yes. And since it might be a while before I see you guys again, I took the liberty of ordering you a few extra boxes.
Take the All Brand Challenge and see if you can feel great in a fortnight.
Here's a little song for anyone who's ever hated. Can hate be good? Can hate be great? Can hate be good? Can hate be great? Can hate be something we don't hate? We'd like to know why it is so that certain diesels must be slow and thwack and thrum and plong and hum and clatter clack. Oh, isn't it just bliss when a diesel goes like this? Hate something, change something, hate something, change something, make something better. Hate is a good thing. Hate something, change something.
See the stars of the Ryder Cup and the world's #1 at the Pro Celebrity Event of the Year. The Dunhill Links Championship, in association with the Royal Bank of Scotland Group, starts Thursday, 1:30, Sky Sports 1.
That was in the midget?
That was in a Silver Crown car.
Silver Crown car.
Yep. So, anyway.
Well, there's a look at Fernandez. Started 4th, currently running in 4th position. Has Weldon right behind him. But this battle, that was Foyt. Oh, he almost got the wall.
Man, oh man, that was a great job to save that thing.
But to jerk it like that and then save it.
He jerked it away from the wall, slid sideways down to the inside line, and still kept it under control. I'm not sure who that is following him, but I'll bet he's ready for a pit stop right now.
You think his stomach is up in his throat?
Yes, I do. I think he thought he was right in the middle of a crash. It didn't happen.
So give that Foyt credit. He was good and also lucky on that one.
Boy, I guess. Man, oh man.
Well, that was Mark Taylor right behind him.
Yeah, it certainly was. And remember, Mark Taylor is the guy that Foyt took with him the last time when the half shaft broke at Chicago. So I'm sure that Mark Taylor is thinking, oh my gosh.
Here we go again. Deja vu all over again.
Yeah, that's right. Wow.
Back up in front. There are the two combatants, and there's the gap, about a cut length now between 1st and 2nd. Rice is back in 3rd position. Fernandez and Weldon battling for 4th. There's some 8.5 seconds back.
Yeah, and Buddy Rice is not running as quick right now as these first two. He ran right with them for a long time, but he's fallen back just a little bit here in the last few laps. And like you said, Fernandez and Weldon, they've also fallen back a little ways.
Well, now about 10 laps before we open the pit area.
And look at Thomas Schechter. He's worked his way back up to 7th position after all the problems and everything that's happened. He's still a long way behind the leader, but just to persevere and hang in there in 7th position is pretty good for somebody that started out that badly.
We're going to watch AJ. Here's AJ Foyt.
Oh. Oh, that's him on the racetrack. I was going to say.
That wasn't the replay.
No, that wasn't the replay. Watch this. Man, he just took off like a shot right for the wall. He's completely sideways. Mark Taylor's back there saying, holy smokes.
Hang on, AJ.
There it is again. Indy Fernandez.
Oh,
man, oh, man. You can't very often. You just can't realize how hard it is to keep one of these cars under control.
You got by with one there.
The driver is set so far forward in one of these rear engine cars. You know, if you get the back end out on a lot of kind of race cars, you can kind of save them. But to do that with one of these Indy cars is particularly hard.
To jerk it back as far as he did to the left and not have the car come around on him.
Absolutely. I mean, he jerked it down, the thing got sideways, and he still was able to drive it out of it. That's he did a pretty good job right there.
I wonder what Grandpa had to say about that piece of driving.
Well, probably pretty happy he doesn't have to fix that race car right at this point, I would think. And he still runs pretty high off that corner even yet, but if you notice, he
almost diamonds the corner off.
But he's running almost as quick as the two guys in front of him, which he's a lap behind.
He's almost on pace with the leaders.
Yeah, I mean, he's running some quick laps. As quick as anybody on the racetrack right now. But
top three right together in the same picture. Here they are to complete lap 157. We'll have one more pit stop.
I truthfully believe that Tony Kanaan is a little bit quicker than Castroneves is right now. He just can't find a way to get around him. He's using that draft to try to catch him. And now that Buddy Rice, he's
there's some traffic out in front of him, Larry.
Yeah, that could be. It doesn't seem that Castroneves gets through the traffic as well as either Kanaan or Rice. So that might be a factor here as Buddy Rice all of a sudden has come to life.
Takagi will be the first that they'll lap. Takagi already. He has 3 laps off the pace. He stays up high, letting the leaders go on by on the low side.
Well, Buddy Rice has got a little bit of a run, but he's going to have to fall back in behind Kanaan because Takagi's going to be in his way up there.
There's a look at Mira. And right in front of Mira is Franchitti. And that's the battle for 8th position. A pair of Honda-powered cars. Franchitti is in 27 and 8th. Mira is in 17 and 9th position.
And there's Scheckter right in front of them, so they're both catching Thomas Scheckter at this point, it looks like.
So 7th, 8th, and 9th right together on the racetrack on lap 159. As your leaders are getting to heavy traffic, you're watching this battle back for 7th.
Well, Scheckter seems to be much quicker at the beginning of a segment than he is at the end. Looks like that car goes away a little bit near the end of the segment, and he slows down just a hair.
We're just about 6 laps away from green flag pit stops.
Yeah, he's going to be, Scheckter will probably be the first guy in the pits again. He'll probably do that in another 3 or 4 laps.
Now Scheckter has been the first guy in the last couple of times. The first round of pit stops were under the yellow flag, the only yellow we've had this afternoon. 40 laps to go, 160 down and 40 laps to go. As your leaders continue to negotiate traffic.
Boy, if they can run this whole race with only 1 yellow on lap 10, that's pretty unbelievable,
impressive.
Really.
Here comes Weldon all over the rear of Fernandez. This is the battle for 4th. Hornish is back in 6th, but Hornish is some 16 seconds behind this lead pack here.
Ooh, look at this. Kanaan got underneath Castroneves.
That's Matsura in 55.
Oh, and Kanaan trying to figure out Castroneves trying to figure out which way to go around Matsura.
Kanaan saying, just go ahead, boys. I'll wait back here.
Yeah, I think all of a sudden he thought that wasn't such a good idea to get up there and race with
Just send me a postcard when you get around him.
Yeah, it certainly appeared like he thought better of getting up there and racing those 2 guys while they were side by side.
Now Matsura stays down and he'll try to get on the outside. As again, we're nearing that what should be the final pit stop of the afternoon.
Buddy Rice got very high.
Very high. Whoa, he just did keep it off the fence.
Man, oh man, that's again over there on turn 2 where we've seen that happen time and time again as the front end just took off on him as he got up around that lap car and got way up near the fence. Did a good job to save it and bring it back down.
So he loses some ground on Kanaan. Fernandez and Weldon still in that battle for fourth, some 9 seconds behind your leaders. Look at Rice back there in third position. Buddy Rice just pushed way up the racetrack and almost got in the marbles.
Yeah, see, he did get in the marbles.
Yeah, he was in the marbles.
He did a great job not to get in the fence because he was above the groove, up in the marbles, and still got that thing turned, and we've seen that can be a very difficult thing to do.
Scott Dixon back in 11th position, about to be placed a lap down on lap 164. Final round of pit stops coming up momentarily. Castroneves and Kanaan right now at the top of the leaderboard. Rice had that little problem, almost got the wall, so he drops.
And here comes Rice.
Rice makes a pit stop. That puts Fernandez into third, Weldon fourth. He comes on in. This would be a regular planned pit stop, maybe a lap or two early.
He came in pretty early last time, though, lap before everybody else. So I think he figured it'd be better off coming down and get tires. Here comes Mira.
Here comes Castroneves.
Comes your leader. Well, I guess wasn't your leader at this point. He's been leading most of the afternoon, but not right now.
So Kanaan leads for the second time this afternoon. Got 6 different leaders, but so far the man that's led the most laps right here, Castroneves. Only one yellow. That was back on lap 9 for a track inspection after Vito Mira got very high and may have brushed the outside safer barrier. Here comes Kanaan.
I'm a little surprised Kanaan did not come in at the same time as Castroneves, but he did not. So we'll see how that all plays out when they get back on the racetrack.
Well, Fernandez will go at the top spot now on these round of pit stops. So we'll have probably several different people assume the top spot. Good overhead view of the pit stop by the 7-Eleven Big Gulp team as Tony Kanaan waiting. Ooh.
Boy, that was almost
started out too early.
Yep, they started. He just inched forward there about 6 inches before they had the fuel hoses out. And that's a mistake that he didn't make, but looked like he was going to.
Here comes Fernandez. He led a lap under the, well, when Kanaan peeled off. Fernandez led actually a couple of laps.
Well, he needs a good pit stop. He and Hornish would love to see a yellow flag once they get back on the racetrack because they both are running as fast as the 3 leaders. But as long as they're pitting under the green, they're going to maintain about 8 seconds or 9 seconds behind them. Oh boy, they pulled the vent hose out a lot sooner than they pulled the fuel hose out that time.
Well, Weldon assumes the lead, his second time to lead here this afternoon on lap 168, and then he comes in.
Yeah, so he's Hornish is the last guy on the racetrack not to make a pit stop amongst the leaders. So he'll be in probably after one more lap. Seems like it's to your advantage to make an earlier pit stop than a later one, though.
Well, we'll see how it shakes out now as he makes his final pit stop, what should be his final pit stop. With 32 laps to go, they can go the distance on this tank of fuel, and here comes Hornish.
Yeah, and he'll fall back in this sequence with everybody else after this pit stop. So
we're going to put Castroneves back in front.
All these teams have done a great job in the pits. This is the most green flag pit stops they've made in any one race this year. And they've been very, very good. There haven't been any huge mistakes by anybody.
So Castroneves, after this round of green flag pit stops, reassumes the top spot. Kanaan second, Rice third. So just as they came in to make the pit stops, they come back out. We'll just have to check the intervals. There's the captain. There's Michael Andretti. We'll check the intervals between first and second and third as the racing continues here on lap 170 from California. Castroneves is your leader. Almost contact there between Fernandez and Dan Weldon. They've been battling even before this pit stop for position. They've been battling for fourth. They came in, made the pit stop, and now they're right back at it again.
Yeah, they certainly are. Those two guys probably for the last half of this race. The last 60, 70 laps have been running together side by side, one in front of the other, and mostly in that order, with Fernandez leading Weldon too.
Well, through the pit stop action, Kanaan lost about a second. His gap at the time that they made the pit stop was about 3 seconds, or 3/10 of a second behind Castroneves, and now he's 1.26.
So he's lost a little bit of ground and a lot of racetrack ground. So this really solidified Castroneves' position on the racetrack.
Vito Mira is dead sticking it. No power as he heads back to the pit area.
Here you can see him. He's catching now Scott Sharp. Put Scott Sharp another lap down.
Scott Sharp is already 1 lap down. Right now, only the top 8 drivers are on the lead lap. Thomas Schechter is in 8th position, and he is the last driver on the lead lap. The top running Chevy now is in 8th. Townsend Bell is in 9th, a lap off the pace with Chevrolet Power. The second yellow of the afternoon has just come out. It is for Debris.
Well, that's a huge break for Fernandez and Dan Weldon, Sam Hornish, Franchitti, and Schechter. Those guys all get to catch up now with the leader. It's a bad break for Castroneves, as he had a nice lead over everybody else after that last round of pit stops.
But still, you know, that many laps.
Wow.
They've gone 160 laps.
Unbelievable, really. I mean, that's a long way. A lot of great racing without any problems. There you see Vitor Mira getting out of his car. He's had engine problems, and he's out of the race.
So they bunch up under the second yellow of the afternoon. The first yellow was only for some 4 laps because of a track inspection. Vito Mira, who just climbed out of his car, came up and got in the marbles, brushed the safer barrier on lap 9. They went up for a track inspection. They have debris on the racetrack now, so for the second time this afternoon we're under yellow, and it came just after all the leaders had finished their green flag pit stops. The final stop of the afternoon. We're on lap 174 of the scheduled 200 lap event.
There is Thomas Schechter. He is the last car on the lead lap in 8th position. So, as you said earlier, only 8 cars remain on the lead lap. With that much green flag racing, quite honestly, I'm surprised there's still 8 cars on the lead lap.
Only 1 race remaining, and that will be in 2 weeks at Texas Motor Speedway. And then, of course, next year we have a new look with 3 road races on the schedule.
Yeah. We're riding along with Scott Dixon, who is a lap down now, back in 10th position. A very disappointing run after a terrific qualifying time yesterday.
They've changed the mirror positions on that car. They go out there on the side pod as opposed to being closer to the cowling around the cockpit.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
If we get another on board, you'll see it's a different mirror position placement.
All of that, of course, has to be okayed by the IRL. All the changes to anything like that have to, and you have to have a mirror of a certain size. They would actually run them smaller if they could, but the IRL mandates.
We'd need something a whole lot bigger, wouldn't we?
That's right.
At that speed.
If you're going to look in your mirror very much, you got to be able to see back there. So they mandate that they be a certain size. There's Buddy Rice in 3rd. There's Dixon, who's 4th on the racetrack, but much farther back. I'm sorry, he's right in front of Buddy Rice. Sorry, on the racetrack.
But a lap off the pace.
Right.
Buddy is presently in 3rd position. 4th is Fernandez. There is Matsura, who is also actually 2 laps off the pace. There's Fernandez, his teammate.
Well, Fernandez and Weldon don't have, all they have is Matsura between them and the leader, so that's a good thing for them.
And I don't think Matsura is going to hold his boss up.
If he does, he might not have his.
May not have that ride next year.
Right. Even though they've announced he has that ride, it might not be as solid as he thinks.
They might renege on that contract.
They get in the way.
Well, I'll tell you what, some of the best battling all afternoon has been back there for 4th, 5th position between Fernandez and Dan Weldon.
Right. Hornish and Franchitti are not, they're just right behind Foyt. You can see Foyt is right behind Weldon right there. There's Hornish right behind them. So he too does not have far to go to catch up with the leaders. It'll remain to be seen. No matter what's happened all race long, though, it has seemed like Castroneves, Kanaan, Rice, and Fernandez have been the fastest cars on the racetrack.
Going to try to hear from Jack Arute with Michael Andretti.
She's gone to school now. She wants to drive for you, Michael. He goes, oh, good. You weren't too convincing here. Are you really bound up real tight about this chase for the championship? You've been stationed here in Dan Weldon's pit. You've been monitoring everything going on with your team. What does it feel like to you right now?
It's going okay. You know, we just got to – this yellow didn't help any for Tony for sure, because now it's going to be a shootout. But we'll see. Dan now is up in there as well. But the guy I've been watching all day is Fernandez. I think he's going to be the guy to beat now. But, you know, where Tony is now will win him the championship, and that's what we want.
How do the dynamics change, though, when you chase for a championship and the two guys that are chasing each other drive for the very same car owner?
You let them race. You know, that's the fun part about it, and they love it too. They are really good friends, and they want to beat each other, but you know they're going to be good, clean racing.
Guys?
A totally different Michael Andretti. I mean, we talked about this many times, but his personality, truly, his demeanor, not personality, but his demeanor has totally changed as a car owner.
Without a question. He much more talkable, much more
approachable. Well, the second yellow of the afternoon, now on lap 177, and we're going to have a shootout, as Michael said.
A long weekend. DiCaprio and Pacino in 4 of their finest films.
Something to wake us all up.
A blend of darkness.
Here comes the pain!
Intensity.
Show me where she is.
Smoothness.
I'd like to take you out for a steak dinner.
And strength.
We ain't got a gang. We got an army.
Every night at 10.
I mean it. This is the truth.
The winner of the Watch Alone Long Weekend competition. The DiCaprio Long Weekend. Friday to Monday this weekend on Sky Movies.
Looking for a loan with flexibility? By calling First Plus on 0800 479 6060, you could borrow anything from £5,000 to £75,000 at really competitive rates. And there's a wide range of repayment choices too. Even if you've no equity. You could stop juggling all your annoying credit and have one lighter monthly repayment instead. Or you could just splash out a bit. Call First Plus now on 0800 479 6060. Their friendly staff could help you in minutes. First Plus, because life is for living.
Glamorous photos? Not my style. Showing off in a convertible? What for? Spending hours on my looks? No way. Hugo, your fragrance, your rules.
And this year's Best Buy Washing Detergent Award goes to... Fairy Non-Bio, as voted by Prima Baby readers.
And he's now 3 or 4 car lengths ahead. Oh, we got somebody up on the fence.
AJ Foyt, does the yellow come back out as he continue on? We do have a caution.
Well, it doesn't appear like he tore any of the wheels off of that thing, but yellow flag did come out, and he definitely got into the wall. So we'll see if I'm sure he'll head right for pit lane. Maybe not. He stayed on the racetrack. Or maybe let's take a look at the tires. Look at his shoulder. See his shoulder? Oh, he's upset. Look at him yelling right there.
Well, he won't be throwing that computer monitor today with that shoulder in his sling.
No. Got his shoulder in a sling after that incident with the Caterpillar we told you about on his farm out there, dislocating his shoulder.
And that's not the Caterpillar that becomes a butterfly.
No. That's a big old tractor type Caterpillar.
An earth mover.
So they brought him in. I don't know. I think they're just going to take him out of the car and say that's enough for today.
Well, let's see if we can see what the replay has to offer.
Okay, here it is, everybody running 2 wide, 3 wide, going down into turn number 1. The leaders get pretty good run. Now watch the back part of your screen. There he was. He was back there. He wasn't all that high, but all of a sudden he went up, and you can see all the black marks. He got in that wall several times and pretty good. So there's
Watching from on board with Scott Sharp.
Looks like the front end just took off. That's the thing we've seen happen a lot. And you can see
see all the black marks he's putting on the wall.
There's no doubt about the suspension on that thing was not up to running any more laps. So tough break for AJ Foyt the fourth.
AJ's on the golf cart. Doesn't even wait for his grandkid to give him a ride back to the pit area, back to the infield.
I don't think Grandpa was very happy there. And you could see them doing a little yelling and screaming as he got down off.
Now he's back off the golf cart. Maybe he will wait for him.
No. Let him walk, he says.
Yeah, he's young enough he can walk.
Yeah.
I tell you what, you've known that guy for a lot of years. One of the great characters of motorsports.
Absolutely one of the best characters in all of motorsports. He's always been the same. He's never changed. Always ruthlessly competitive.
And honest.
Honest, says what he thinks. You may not like it, but he's going to tell you exactly what he thinks one way or the other.
No matter where he is, he holds court. There's always an entourage around. I'm not talking about an entourage of his making, but all the race fans that are gathered around.
Right. I think one of the funniest things I've ever seen in all of Indianapolis was this year when Tony Stewart got in his car, was going to practice it. I mean, usually the throngs and crowds are around AJ Foyt. This time, Tony Stewart went out to run the car, and AJ came out of the garage, and there was nobody standing there to pester him. I've never seen that in all the years, the 40-some years I've seen him in Indianapolis.
He's like the motorsports Pied Piper. He can draw a crowd and lead a crowd, but he does hold court.
He does hold court. He certainly does.
Well, 180 now complete, so we have even fewer laps for our shootout.
Well, we'll see now if Castroneves can pull off a restart like Kanaan did the last time around. And if he can get around Kanaan, this is going to be his best shot to get around Kanaan, quite honestly. As
Green
you said,
flag will come out, Larry, as they complete lap 182, getting us an 18-lap shootout if nobody else gets high and brushes the wall. And the yellows today have not been serious yellows. We've had some slight brushes with the wall, but nothing real serious.
Well, that Manning crash in qualifying was the only serious incident all weekend long.
That's the worst way to hit a wall going backwards.
Yeah. And they did say he had a compression fracture. Now, at first they said there was no damage, but now he has a compression fracture, which all you can do is rest, and that's exactly what he's doing right now.
See Dixon third there, but he's actually a lap back, so third position belongs to Rice, then Fernandez. Here they come off the corners. They pick up the RPMs.
Castroneves again did not get a very good start for whatever reason.
He's Rice on the high side, and Rice going to get second position.
Yeah, he's going to blow by him. You get that kind of a run on the guy, you're going to go around him. And I think this is the first time all race long that Castroneves is going to find himself in third position on the racetrack while they're actually racing. And look at this, Dixon is going to get up there and mix it up with him too, and I'm not sure why. He's a lap down.
Yeah, he's a lap off the pace. Dixon back in ninth position, but he is a lap off the pace.
And here comes Fernandez. He just went around Dixon. Now then, as Michael Andretti said, he may be the guy to watch, and he is on the move right now.
Well, they've made their final pit stop. Now it's just a matter of shootout. Put your foot down and keep your foot to the floorboard as he goes around.
That's Castroneves coming back around Buddy Rice. So Castroneves showing a little bit of the muscle that we've known he's had. And here comes Sam Hornish. He's battling with Weldon.
On the inside of Weldon for fifth position. Well, the black flag is coming out for car 26. Dan Weldon is being black flagged. They're saying he's pushing cars down.
Wow. That's a pretty severe penalty at this point in the points race. It's going to take him out of the points race, actually, and
give the championship to Kanaan.
Absolutely. Tony Kanaan's going to win. But they were saying that
Kanaan starts some blocking here. He may get black flag for blocking.
Well, that would not be out of the question, and he doesn't want to do that very many times. As you did see him, he moved up and down the racetrack a little bit as Castroneves tried to make the pass.
So once his teammate has been black flagged.
Well, Brian Barnhart is not bashful. If he thinks it's happening, he will make that call.
He's a no-nonsense guy. He's a no-nonsense guy, and here comes Rice on the high side.
And here's
Weldon. Let's watch what Weldon's doing here.
Well, they're saying that he's
he couldn't push somebody down because he was on the inside.
He's pushing Hornish up the racetrack, pulled up into Hornish, evidently is what he's saying. But look at this. Fernandez does the same thing to Buddy Rice right there as he moved up the racetrack on him. And there is the black flag.
It's a drive-through black flag penalty, but that will give the title. You see, Michael's not very happy, but quite honestly, Weldon did. He was a yellow flag, and that is that's Barron, Alex Barron. Those Red Bull cars are painted just alike, but that's Alex Barron in our fourth yellow. Right, bang, bang, bang. We had one yellow at 173, one at 179, and now we're at 186.
And that may well give Tony Kanaan the race and the championship all at once, because there's only 14 laps to go. This will have to be a very, very quick, yellow cleanup. You could see that he was taking the steering wheel off. That's always good news. That's Eddie Cheever there looking at the replay to make sure his driver is okay. He's the team owner.
Now, Eddie Cheever's a guy, you mentioned A.J. Foyt calls it as he sees it. You ask Eddie a question, he'll give you an answer. You may not like his answer, but he'll give you an answer.
Doesn't get mad, he doesn't throw fits, but he definitely will tell you what he thinks.
He won't tap dance around an issue.
That's exactly right.
Let's watch again, Larry. See if we can pick up what happened to Alex Barron.
Okay, it's just got loose.
It's got loose.
The back end just came around. He's just slammed that thing, turned it a half turn, and into the wall. As it disappeared, he was running along there. The little air might have got taken off to the front wing, and when it did, he just turned it around. And a lot of parts laying out on that racetrack, so I think it's going to take a little while to get it cleaned up.
Well, you see Alex walks away. He is okay here in his home state. Climbs in the emergency unit for the ride back to the infield care center. So once again, this could be a lengthy yellow, a lengthy cleanup with Kanaan leading here. 13 laps to go. Kanaan, Castronevich, this could nullify what could have been a great finish.
Yeah, it certainly could. I think, Fernandez, it appeared to me, did exactly the same thing that Dan Weldon did as he moved up on Buddy Rice, as Buddy Rice got on the outside of him. But all four of those cars are in contention to win this race. Yeah, but I don't know. It depends on how many laps are left when they get going again. But any of those four guys could win, and even Hornish, I think, might have a chance.
Well, because of the yellow, Weldon did not lose a lap, so he is back in 8th position now. 8 drivers on the lead lap. We're out not far from Hollywood, and if you're going to write a script, what a great way to end a season-long title chase. You start at the back of the pack, engine problems on Saturday, come back, lead the race, yellow comes out, you win the race and the title.
That's right, and he alluded to the fact that he had done that before in races, started in the back and come to the front. It didn't bother him, and certainly didn't appear to bother him at the start of the race as he was blowing guys off left and right.
Well, we talked about what a great afternoon we had. We went 160-some laps between the yellows, and then we had that debris yellow in lap 173 for 5 laps. Well, we were only green for a lap when A.J. Foyt brushed the fence, and that put out the yellow for 4 laps, and had just gone back to racing when Alex Barron crashed. So we've had 3 yellow segments back to back to back.
6 months of intense competition, and reigning champions Poole have come through to the final once again. But can they retain their title? Sky Bet Elite League final, first leg, Wolverhampton v Poole tonight, 7:30, Sky Sports 2.
At QuickFit, tyres are down again. Save 25% on 4 Continental tyres and 60% on thousands of exhausts. QuickFit, keeping tyre and exhaust prices down.
Committed themselves to cooperate fully and have a duty to maintain that commitment.
The civil war is destabilizing a whole region, and within hours rebel forces will provoke a wider conflict by launching a missile at one of our ships.
There is evidence.
Who's going to stop them?
Expecting 220.
Lash, this is Foxtrot, exit 220, inbound, fast, out.
My name's AAW Auto.
Go down pit side with our live coverage to hear from Michael Andretti. With now 11 laps to go, riding along with Thomas Scheckter. Castroneves will be second on the restart behind Kanaan. But Fernandez, look at Fernandez, he is third, then Rice, then Hornig. So if we can get 3 or 4 laps of racing, Fernandez may have a shot at this thing.
I think he definitely has a shot at it. We'll see. Castroneves has not been getting good starts on the restart. Probably it's something to do with the gearing. But we'll see.
Let's hear from Michael Andretti pit side.
Back in the heat and the sunshine of Southern California with just over 10 laps to go, a championship to be determined. Michael Andretti's drivers, of course, figure in that as we've chronicled all day. But this black flag incident for Dan Weldon, how tough is that to swallow?
Yeah, pretty tough because to me it didn't look that bad. I've seen a lot worse things happening out there, and I was quite surprised at the call, but that's the way it goes.
How frustrated is he?
He's frustrated, you know. It cost him a good 3 or 4 spots, so you know, now it's going to make it tough because, you know, Buddy's up there now and he's going to gain some points on him, so it was really disappointing.
How about the situation as far as Tony Kanaan is concerned now, getting this much closer to clinching this whole deal? Great satisfaction. I know you've talked about that. What concerns do you have for these remaining laps when you go green?
Well, just stay safe and hopefully stay in the position he's at. You know, that's what we want to try to do. You know, he asked me how he should approach this race, and I told him just go for the win. And so far he's listening. I hope he listens all the way.
Well, from a man who knows what it takes to win a championship, now owning a team with a possible championship, and there aren't many of those. That's a very short list.
Well, Dan Weldon there being cruelly penalised, it would seem, in today's Toyota Indy 400. And with me in the studio here are Mike O'Brien and, of course, Paul Cherry. And, Paul, if I can come to you first of all, we've looked at that replay now twice. A harsh penalty, but may have just about been justified, do you feel?
Looking at it on reflection, possibly. But both Mike and I thought that Scott had slowed, forcing Dan up. But at the end of the day, that's what mirrors are for. And sadly, on this occasion, I'd have to say probably the IRL officials are right. But what Michael Andretti is right in saying is there have been far worse incidents throughout the race. And they've obviously just decided, oh, it's nearly the end of the race, we'll throw that one in.
Well, Mike, we've this is the first time you've been in the Sky Sports studio with us, of course, and we've had a flurry of yellows towards the end of this race. It's been quite static until now. Dan Weldon being penalised there, but Alex Barron's crash taking us on this 4th yellow at the moment. It looks like Tony Kanaan is going to walk away with the championship here and now.
Yeah, I think you know, on the restart he looks very strong with the Honda power. It looks like it's got enough just to keep him in the lead, and I think the danger is really for him that Fernandez jumps Helio for second and gives him a run for his money, but he's looking very good at the moment.
Just quickly, as far as the Dan Weldon incident was concerned, justified or not in your view?
I think it's very harsh, but I think maybe after Chicago the drivers had a talking to and they probably warned anything will be jumped on, so we both thought Scott Dixon was holding him up, but on reflection probably about fair.
Okay, well it seems to be Dan Weldon may have been fractionally naughty, but let's get back to the track now, live of course, because we are in the closing stages and we may well see the IRL champion crowned here, of course. So let's go back to the track now. We've just 6 laps left.
Well, here comes Fernandez.
Yeah, Fernandez back there. He's in the catbird seat. He's really in the best spot, and I bet you he goes by at least one of them, maybe both of them.
Well, he goes by for second position now. Can Fernandez pick up, and there goes Rice right behind him. Can Fernandez pick up his 3rd win of the year? Kanaan has won 3. And there is Kanaan on lap 193.
Well, Fernandez.
Oh, look at this. Look at this. He's got to run down the backstretch.
He's going to do everything he can. He's up the side of him.
Now, how hard will Kanaan race him?
Oh, he'll race him plenty hard now.
Side by side, they complete lap 193.
Wow.
Fernandez, you called it, Michael Andretti called it. Fernandez
He shifted gears right there in the middle of the corner that time as Kanaan got a little bit
almost touch wheels.
It looked like Kanaan moved up the racetrack a little bit that time down the back straightaway, but look at the good run he gets going down the back straightaway, but then going through 3 and 4. Through the corners, the inside line is a little bit quicker, no question.
Working on lap 194. Everybody on their seats, side by side.
Oh, we got a
big crash. This will end under yellow. Who's going to...
Fernandez led the last lap. If this is the way it ends, Fernandez is going to win this race.
That was Schechter, and who else was involved? We can't see from our...
I think that's Thomas Indy, isn't it? It was a red car.
So Schechter is okay. We see him taking the steering wheel off. That was on lap 195.
That is Indy.
So Fernandez is the leader. Fernandez got around, has the lead. And this race will, I do believe, end under yellow.
Yeah, I don't, 4 laps to go. He certainly has a good look at him going down there to miss all that debris. He's going way down under the bottom to miss all the debris. They're working on Thomas Indy there, trying to get him out of the car. It looks like he's standing up. Thomas Schechter standing up. That's the good news. The bad news is that Kanaan and Castroneves are both going to have to take a back seat to a guy named Fernandez.
We're going to take a look again, hopefully, on a replay, Larry.
And here you can see he's following. Oh, Indy just gets loose. Schechter had absolutely nothing he could do.
What caused that car, and I would love to see that replay again if we can, what caused that car to snap loose like that?
I don't know what caused it. It just looked like the back end got loose, and he got sideways. And once he was sideways, Thomas Schechter, of course, everything happens so fast. I mean, you have no time to react, no time to turn.
All right, look at the gap right here at the line. This will be for most likely the win.
Oh, man. Let's take a look and see. You think every lap is not important to lead? Well,
that one was the deciding factor.
That might be, and I'm sure that Michael's not going to be real happy, but let's see what he's got to say now.
Down to the pit of Tony Kanaan and check with the team, and then just got confirmation apparently through officials at the IRL. You're going to be back in first place with your driver?
We're back in first. Well, I saw the yellow came out before the start-finish line, and obviously he passed us before the after the start-finish line, so they're correcting it, so it's great. They made a good call.
Just another wrinkle in your new career as an owner, huh?
Yeah, right. No, it's just awesome. I mean, Tony did an awesome job today, and the whole 7-Eleven team, so just a dream year.
Dream year. You think they'll get this thing cleaned up in time to get going? You get any feel for that?
I hope not.
That's about as honest as it gets, I think, right there.
Wow.
The timeline in turn 4, and you heard Michael say that the IRL had reversed it and put Kanaan back up in front.
And they have, at this point, put him back up front. Remember, this is what happened at Indianapolis, because technically, at the second the yellow flag comes out, whoever's leading at that point should be the leader of the race, not at the start-finish line. So remember the big controversy at Indianapolis?
Paul Tracy.
Yeah, with Paul Tracy, and that went on for months. And so far, it looks like they have decided that Fernandez was behind Kanaan at the second that the yellow flag came out.
Once you get the timeline in turn 4, 11 was in front of number 5. So they put number 11 back up. Kanaan will be the leader. If we have a restart, Kanaan will be on the point. But that seems highly unlikely at this point, Larry.
Yeah, I don't see how.
Very fast cleanup.
They've got a great safety crew. They do terrific work, but to get this thing cleaned up is going to be very difficult to do.
Once again, they're on 197 right now, so they might get one lap under green at most. As the remain.
Well, it's all happening in the closing stages here at the moment, isn't it? The 5th yellow, then Thomas Schechter and Thomas Enger getting out of this Toyota Indy 400 in the most dramatic of manners. Thomas finding no room as Thomas Enger was completely sideways in front of him. Scheckter very lucky not to launch over the top. We are under our 5th yellow, and this looks pretty much like it may finish under a yellow flag, and Kanaan now being put in front of Fernandez will mean that the new IRL champion will also win today. He's just looking so good at the moment, Tony Kanaan, behind the pace car as the laps click away. Here and in the studio, of course, are Mike O'Brien and Paul Cherry. Mike, if I can come to you first. I mean, it's all happened, isn't it, in the last few laps? We had the longest period under a green flag, I think, this year. Yeah. And then all of a sudden we've had 4 yellows in the space of just a few laps above that. But Tony Kanaan and Andretti Green, they've pretty much done everything right, haven't they? They've got it pretty well.
Yeah, well, Tony started dead last, and he came through to the front, and he stayed there. And looks like he thoroughly deserves the championship this year. As you said, he's completed every lap now of every race, and unbelievably consistent achievement, really.
Although you have to say, it looked for a moment, Paul Cherry, like Adrian Fernandez might have just got very, very lucky there. That yellow came out at a point when we weren't too sure whether it was Kanaan or Fernandez that was in front. In fact, I'm still not too sure of it, but I'll live with the officials.
Timing and scoring will be the ultimate thing, and they say put him to the front, so that's the way. But no, Fernandez obviously had a very good race set up, and I think he was doing as we saw Buddy Rice do at Michigan, just hanging around waiting for the last few laps, because he certainly had the legs off everyone.
Unfortunate for Thomas Enger, of course. We were going to talk about Thomas Enger, Formula 3000, and I think Pro Ferrari as well driver. He's come here for the first time. It's a bit of a baptism by fire. I think we talked at the beginning of the show about how difficult it might be for him to adapt to ovals. Well, I think he's found out the hard way now. Sideways on in the middle of a turn with Thomas Scheckter closing down on you at 200 odd mile an hour.
Yeah, well, the car just got a little bit loose on him and fishtailed a bit, and he was gone. And obviously, again at 200 miles an hour, Thomas hit him, and it was lucky it wasn't a repeat of the incident of Darren and Buddy Rice last week, where one car went over the other. They rattled along the wall, and both jumped out pretty unscathed, but there's fairly spectacular.
I mean, they're travelling obviously at a very rapid rate of knots around here. There is a little bit of wind about as well. We've talked about that. There's a huge bump before you get into turn 3 as well. Conditions, not ideal, are they? It's still pretty tricky. It can all go wrong out there, as we've seen in these latter stages.
Yeah, I mean, everybody says about this oval series that it's just going round and round in circles. Every single one of these tracks is different. And
looks
we're going to get a couple
to me
of
like we're going back under green. Paul Cherry and Mike O'Brien, thanks very much for your comments. Look at that, 5 abreast then as we come under green for a real dash to the flag.
Well, he was in the
almost contact.
And look at Buddy Rice. He's out there 3 wide. He's going to go from 5th to 3rd, it looks like.
Down the back straightaway, still side by side.
And look at Weldon. Weldon is way back up there in front. He's going the inside.
Weldon's going to go to 3rd. Weldon's up to 3rd.
Unbelievable.
Gronevitz drops back. Now they almost get together. Who's going to win this thing? And it's Fernandez. Michael called it. You called it. Fernandez wins it.
Unbelievable.
Fernandez, the 3rd victory this season for Adrian Fernandez, the oldest driver out there at the age of 42, picks up his 3rd victory of the year.
Dan Weldon, after a black flag, moves up into 3rd. Terrific
takes
run
3rd position. So Fernandez wins it. Kanaan takes 2nd and the championship.
And who would have ever thought?
And we have a crash, Larry. We have a crash on the racetrack after the checkered flag.
Wow. Castroneves finishes in 7th after all that. Oh, that's our champion doing it.
No, that's not the champion. That's Herta.
What the heck is Herta doing?
What's? Wait, no, they're all
of them are doing it. All the teammates are doing it.
That was the crash we were talking about. They're all doing burnouts.
They're all back there.
They're going to hit each other.
That's what I was
run into each other in all this smoke.
That's exactly what I was thinking. All 4 of those guys are going to crash into each other back there doing burnouts.
I thought we had a yellow. I mean, a crash after the checkered flag. So Kanaan takes the championship.
Wow.
Fernandez wins the race.
Well, that's pretty unbelievable. Here's the picture of the finish, and you can see Fernandez by about a half a car length. Just, you know, he got that good run like he has done. The second guy has a huge advantage on the guy in first place because he can see when he starts to pick up the throttle and he can get that little bit of a run, and that's exactly what he did.
Here they come.
Here's this little choreographed, whatever you call it.
There's Michael.
There's always another wrinkle, and you've just experienced one.
Yeah, there is, but almost a perfect day. But boy, Tony did a hell of a job, and then Dan coming up there snuck in and finished third, which put him ahead of Buddy. So good day.
Are you disappointed that it couldn't have been the perfect ending that you thought might happen here for Tony?
I guess you can't get too greedy.
It has been a fantastic season here again, completing all the laps, top 5 finishes except for the season opener. Have you ever seen anything like that in your career, Michael?
I got to say, no. I mean, it's been the most incredible thing I've ever seen. So it's just great. We got to enjoy it now.
Where's the party tonight, by the way?
We're going to take Tony out and have a little Jim Beam tonight.
And you know what, guys? That's not a show.
No.
That's sincere. That's not a show.
Sincere congratulations. And, you know, Dan Weldon, I have to tell you, after that drive-through, to come back and run third, that was a terrific job for him.
And you realize that for Fernandez, he has won 3 of the last 5 races so far this season. Boy, he is on a roll. So I think the first time ever in at least our years of covering motorsports, we saw 4 drivers doing donuts in a victory celebration.
Unbelievable. I was like you, saw the smoke. I couldn't figure out. And then I saw Herta back there, and I'm thinking, what the heck is Herta doing? And
well, I saw the white smoke. I thought we had the accident. In fact, we called the accident, and it wasn't the accident at all.
Oh, well. Yeah, it was those guys all back there doing unison donuts, I guess you'd call them. I don't know.
But it would have been funny had they crashed into each other because they couldn't see each other with all the smoke.
We would have thought, though. They would have thought so.
Michael wouldn't think that was funny.
That's right. No matter what. But, well, well-deserved. They have had a terrific year. The whole team's had a terrific year. And I guess for all of them to celebrate at one time was very fitting.
Well, and once again, one of the closest finishes ever. Just almost a photo finish. We've come to expect that here in the Indy Racing League.
Yeah, I mean, we were actually at one point.
Second victory, it's like a huge gap.
Yeah, we were thinking, geez, these guys are all spread out there. They're almost a second apart here, and now then it ended up like that.
So one of the closest finishes here at the California Speedway, with Fernandez edging Kanaan, and Weldon takes third, then Hornish, Rice, and Franchitti. So to the victor, Adrian Fernandez, his third victory in 5 races. Want to hear from him, and of course Tony Kanaan captures the title.
In the season, you didn't make it to Homestead, but you come here to California, you win yet another race. Wow, 2 in a row. Way to go!
I tell you, I'm so excited for my guys. We worked so hard, and we've been on a roll in the last few races. We know what we want, and this baby's been fantastic. I tell you, it's you know, my team is they've done all the job, and I'm so proud of them. Consistent. This is a race.
Let's go back to this last lap. We're showing it right now, and just take us through the emotional roller coaster and what you were trying to do.
Well, firstly, I thought I was leading before that yellow came, so I was discussing with John Ward about it, and they said, well, the 11 is in front. Okay, I never thought that they were going to really get the restart. It was a lot of mess on the racetrack, but they did a fantastic job on restarting, and I tell you, even in the restart, I got sideways. I put so much power. I was just trying to get Tony so bad that I got sideways. I knew I had a stronger car. Tony really respected his line and everything, and it was a great finish. I mean, so close. I was just looking at his left tires. I said, oh, come on, Tony, remember me?
You had a little fun, though, with Tony before the race, making fun of the fact that he was so far back from you. Did you kind of regret that comment when you were so close to him on that last lap?
Tony's so strong, being so strong. I don't know if he clinched the championship, but
he did.
So if he did, I take my hat to him. He's been fantastic. I know him since he started in Indy Lights, and he's a really good driver. I knew he was going to be in the front. It was just a matter of time.
Adrian, I want to go back in your career because much like Tony Kanaan, it's been both up and down for Adrian Fernandez. I mean, you had to sleep in your trailer. You had to do so much to try and control your own destiny. You and Tom Anderson do exactly that now. And all of a sudden, you are a major force in IndyCar racing.
well, you just have to wait when your opportunities come, and then when you get them, you just get a few good opportunities, and when you get them, you have to take you have to take them with all your arms. But the most significant thing for me is not that Adrian Fernandez is winning as a driver; he's winning also as a team owner with a great partner like Tom Anderson, and that for me is everything.
Paul, one thing he's got to work on, though, when he pulled into victory lane, it's the opposite end of where his team was located. I had to help him get out of the car.
Well, I'm sure as happy as he was, he could climb out eventually on his own. There is the happy team right there.
Yeah, Kanaan stopped a good ways from his team. They've just caught up with him. He's a very happy camper right now.
Thumbs up. Give me a thumbs
So
up.
Kanaan takes second this afternoon, but clinches the title. Unofficially, Dan Weldon took third, then Sam Hornish, Buddy Rice, Dario Franchitti, and Castro Nevitz. Dixon was a lap off the pace as you take a look at the last half of the field. And so once again, our congratulations to Adrian. What a great finish for Adrian Fernandez, his second straight win.
Well, you join us back here in the Sky Sports studio. Well, what an ending that was in the end. Fernandez, I mean, I just didn't think they were going to clear the amount of debris that was out on the track to even get one lap dash in. But Paul Cherry, a fantastic win again for Fernandez, and Kanaan the championship.
Yeah, you almost feel you got to press a rewind button, because here we were writing Adrian Fernandez obituary for that race, and suddenly we get a lap in, which was terrific. Good finish. I mean, it would have been nice if Tony could have won, but to come in second, clinch the championship, and have that last-minute dash for the cash, I thought that was very good.
And Mike, you've got to say, Dan Weldon, and we heard Michael Andretti talking about, he a black flag, drive-through penalty, comes through and grabs third place.
Right, fantastic restart, and we were just saying Helio managed to go from right to the front to seventh, and Dan came right through from wherever he was after his black flag and up the inside there. So it was a great result, and another great result for Andretti Green.
Have the feeling that and that synchronised donuts that we got there as well from all four Andretti Green members, with Franchitti and Herta joining in the fun and games as well. I mean, it's a huge team. There's a lot. I mean, you've been a champ car manager before. You know what's involved in this. 4 men, four machines to run throughout a series like this throughout the year. It's a big undertaking, isn't it? It's no mean feat at all.
It is an unbelievable undertaking, and more so because he has got 4 top-line drivers. They've all... Brian won last year, he hasn't won this year, but Dario's won this year, Dan's won, Tony's won, and this is one team. This is a fantastic achievement. It really is. It shouldn't be underestimated. I think, Roger Penske, I would think, is looking briefly down the road and thinking, what am I doing wrong at the moment?
Well, one or two things that the Penske's have got wrong this year. We've seen some dodgy pit manoeuvrings going on over the past weeks, and Roger Penske, at the end of the day, you have to think was top of the tree as far as their performance is concerned. We can go to the interview now. Sorry,
Adrian, you battle not only for a championship but for another victory.
It was just another race, if you look at it.
Yeah, right.
I was racing for it, and too bad I couldn't win. But I tell you, that's the second place that tastes the best in my life. So I don't care. Congratulations to Adrian. I tried my best. I knew he was quicker than me on the straightaway. If it wasn't for that early yellow, he's going to be ahead. So I did my best. I was worried just about the championship, and we got it. So we have a mission now. We go to Texas and make sure Dan finishes second.
Was there any kind of a tug of war in your head? Part of you saying, should I just back out and give it to him, or should I challenge all the way, even though you risk contact because you were just inches apart?
When you start to do things different than you always did, that's when you make mistakes. So I said, you know what, I'm going for it. If it's going to be mine, it's going to be mine. Obviously, I was trying to be a little careful, but I knew Adrian was going to take care of me. I know the way he races clean. So we tried to keep space between each other, and once he put himself ahead, I didn't move my car, he didn't move his car, he won clean. So
I want to take you back to the start of the 400 miles. You're at the back of the pack in 21st place, and yet you're picking off people. Tell us about those first few laps, and did you have any concerns as you tried to sort your way through the traffic?
No, I was driving as fast as I could. I mean, I need to thank my my engineers, Eric and all the guys, because they gave me a great car, man, and I just drove. Basically, I just drove, and Daddy used to call me Miss Daisy. I probably drove like a Miss Daisy a little bit today.
How much?
Tony Kanaan then is the champion, second place only as far as today is concerned, but it's got to be a popular win, hasn't it? I mean, at the end of the day, no one's going to hold it against Tony Kanaan. He is a man that was expected to win it in the closing stages of the season because it's all worked out fairly well for him. But it will be a popular win, do you think, Paul?
Absolutely. I mean, Tony's a great guy. He's good PR. He's good on the TV, as we've seen. And he's very, very likeable. And all the guys in the Andretti team are a likeable bunch. I mean, they really are a family. So this has worked out very, very well for Honda and all the sponsors of that team.
Well, what a fantastic night we've had so far. That's it, though, for tonight. A night when Tony Kanaan is crowned the 2004 Indy Racing League champion. And a very popular and well-deserved win it was, too. Congratulations, of course, to him and to our race winner tonight. But no doubt, Tony will be a little more relaxed as he goes into the final round in 2 weeks' time at the Texas Motor Speedway for the Chevy 500. And you can see that, of course, live here on Sunday the 17th of October at 5:30 p.m. on Sky Sports 3. Well, in the meantime, thanks to Mike and Paul. And of course to you for watching. See you in 2 weeks' time. We'll leave you now with some highlights of tonight's race. Goodbye.